NFL because,
Yes.
well, I mean, obviously you're losing some money, but also you have to file taxes in each state that you play in because
That is
technically
bizarre, isn't it?
Because, so say if I played like in New York, well, I'm conducting business in New York. So, so I had to file taxes in New York. Literally, usually the way it worked was 8 teams. I had to file for like 8 different cities. So that's a little stressful. And
what do you file? And I've always wondered that, okay? Like in California, obviously you go there and you're going to get crushed by the tax system in California.
Correct.
So, but what do you have to file? Like your paycheck for that week gets
Exactly.
filed in California?
Yes.
Not just like eating dinner or something like that.
No,
but it's your
not at
actual
all.
paycheck.
It's your actual paycheck that gets filed. Usually when it comes in terms of dinner on away games, you get a team stipend. So you don't usually use your own money in terms of an away game. The team will provide the
you
money,
get a per diem,
which is pretty nice. So you have to file taxes in each and every state, and then you get a refund. So you get like 8 checks in the mail from different states, so you can kind of appreciate the different. Like each check looks different.
Yeah.
So like I think shout out to New York, had a pretty cool looking check when I got it. So
They also have high taxes.
Yep. Pittsburgh check, if I can remember, Pittsburgh's is pretty bland and boring. But
Boring Pittsburgh.
Yeah, boring Pittsburgh. So it was kind of stressful to keep everything in line because you have 8 different cities. Then you get the checks back. You got to put them in your bank account. So it's kind of a stressful thing. So I'm going to be honest. When I was in that situation, I had a guy do that for me because I'm playing football. I don't have time to do that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But what's interesting? So where does it save you playing in a no-income state income tax place like here in Texas? And is it because of the signing bonus money then? If you're going to get taxed on games in other states, well, I guess you still save it when you're playing your 8 games at home.
Exactly.
And then how about the London taxes now?
So I've never played in London, so I don't know about that, but I can only imagine how
Probably
crazy that is.
pretty taxed heavily.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that always has fascinated me. Think about it from a baseball player standpoint.
I was just going to ask you.
162 games.
Do baseball players go through that as well?
Yeah, they do. Same thing. I think all professional athletes go through that.
That is chaos.
And so from a baseball player, like the Red Sox are on a West Coast swing, and you can play in Oakland. They're playing in Seattle and Oakland, but you could play in Oakland, and you could play in San Diego. You could play L.A., Anaheim, and you're going to play all those. You could play in the course of a season 24, 30 games.
You can play in Japan.
Even as a visitor.
If you're the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah. And so that is pretty wild. You have to have a good accountant if you're an athlete.
Without a doubt.
No doubt. They better do that. I have a pretty good accountant. I don't have to worry about other states. And we got it done. It does kind of feel good to get your taxes done.
Well, let me ask you this, though. So say you filmed the Super Bowl, you did stuff there, or maybe like you go to an away game like in London. I mean, technically, aren't you conducting business over there like you're filming stuff? So shouldn't you have to file? I'm not trying to get you in trouble or anything like that.
Sure sounds like it.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm curious how that works.
Well, I think because I don't have a good answer for your question, but I would say because the parent company pays me, not the NFL. I'm not conducting business on behalf of the NFL. I'm conducting business on behalf of my company, which is here in Florida.
Correct.
Like you're conducting business on from the Shield's point of view.
Yeah.
Right.
But technically, aren't you still conducting business in the fact that you're recording and you're shooting from those cities?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Now I think I might go to jail.
The FBI's coming. The FBI's coming for Kuz, where his mom paid him to get into college, and now Brent's coming to get it as well.
We're all going to be in jail by the end of the week.
Oh, I'm sitting pretty, man. I'm just asking the questions. I'm not doing anything wrong here.
We'll find something on you.
Oh,
Don't worry.
I bet
If we're going down, you're going down.
I bet you could.
We're hosting Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690 from the penitentiary.
Live from San Quentin.
We could have special guest, The Situation from Jersey Shore. Come on.
We're going to Lake City.
Is he in jail?
Yeah, he went for tax fraud, I believe.
Is that common knowledge?
Well, I mean, for my line of work, it is.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
The only reason I know that is they were just talking about it. Apparently, he's enjoying his time there.
Kuz is a big Jersey Shore fan. It's all good. It's all good.
It's a good show. I don't mind it.
That is debatable, sir, but it is what it is.
All right. Hey, you know something we didn't get into a little bit is WrestleMania. And,
we haven't yet.
The John Oliver stuff.
Yeah.
I thought you were actually doing that stay in your lane yesterday.
But remember I said that there was...
sidetracked.
Well, no, I said I was going to do it, but then there was a bunch of swearing and cussing in it, which I wasn't going to hand off to Kuz and then put on the airwaves for everybody to hear because...
I don't trust him.
Well, John Oliver's on HBO, so John Oliver can say whatever he wants, basically. But yeah, listen, WrestleMania, and for those of you that are getting ready to turn the channel and you're shaking your heads, oh, here comes Austin with more wrestling talk. Understand it like this. Whether your favorite TV show is Jersey Shore, The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, name your favorite TV show, okay? Get it in your mind.
I don't have one, but okay, go.
Okay, well, now imagine that you've watched that TV show for 52 weeks straight. It's on Mondays and Tuesdays. 52 weeks straight. Sometimes the show is good. Sometimes the show is boring and kind of bland. And sometimes just like, man, I have to turn the channel. This isn't entertaining at all. So for 52 weeks, you've been watching this show. Well, WrestleMania is the season finale. It's where you get your payoff for watching all that 52 weeks worth of episodes. All that content pays off this Sunday. And that's why WrestleMania is so important, because all the storylines that started last year now come to an end.
Do they really, though? Do they weave that way? And like something that did happen a year ago at the beginning of the year, whatever it was, the beginning of their season, because certainly not the beginning of the year, we're in April. Does it all culminates, it comes to fruition, the storylines tie up, and then obviously new storylines then take place for the next season, right? It's kind of like a teaser for the next season.
So I would say that the two most popular times to watch wrestling is obviously WrestleMania come number one, because that's the biggest pay-per-view, that's the biggest draw. And the second most popular on top of every pay-per-view is the Raw after WrestleMania, because that's where, you know,
new storylines are set.
There's new storylines. There's kind of the aftermath of WrestleMania, but then, yes, you start to see where the new storylines are going to go.
Why is WrestleMania in April? Is it just a slower time in the calendar? I mean, it is. It's in between Final Four, right? Saturday night is semifinal games. Monday's the Final Four. There's really no football. No, there's really no football with the AAF suspended.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's right before the Masters. I'm just trying to think, is it in a perfect spot in the calendar, or is there some other reason? Because a season finale in the early April is pretty unusual.
Well, and then that's kind of the way it's always been, because there are other pay-per-views too. Like, for instance, SummerSlam is obviously in the summer. So, like, that's like the big pay-per-view in the summertime is wrestling for SummerSlam. So that's the summertime. But yes, April is the big WrestleMania month.
All right. Yeah, I got you. Hey, we're going to talk about that. What do you think? First reaction to the Bryce Harper bat flip?
Thought it was awesome.
Yeah, the Bryce Harper thing is kind of cool in the first week of the season.
I'm going to be honest. My favorite bat flip of all time is Mr. Joey Bats, Jose Batista. I mean, that one
doesn't get much better than that.
Because there was so much on the line, and it was Toronto, you know? And I actually was watching that game live. I don't know why. But the attitude that he had, just the ambiance that came from it was classic. I thought it was great.
And by the way, thanks, Bryce Harper. Now this weekend in Oviedo, or wherever I am, though, where are we going? Sanford. Little Thai guy, all 82 pounds of him. He's going to hit a single, and he's going to be bat flipping because of you. All right?
And then
that's the problem we have, Bryce Harper. And he's got to get one in the ear hole.
Yeah, exactly.
A couple innings later.
Crowd on the plate. Be careful, Ty.
We'll talk about Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper is good for baseball. Bryce Harper may be what baseball needed, at least in the first week, but can they sustain it?
Bat flipping is good for baseball.
You'll have some debate there.
Bring it on.
It's coming up on ESPN 690 on a Wednesday. Hey, always welcome to call us, 904-362-9901, 904-362-9901.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Want a fresh one? Go visit Renna's Pizza. Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you're looking for some place to eat today, try Renna's. Family-owned and operated. New York-style pizza, everything made fresh, in-house daily. Try the lunch specials or come by and pick up your favorite pizza for dinner. And for a limited time, buy any large or extra-large pizza and receive 6 fresh garlic knots for free. Just tell them Brent sent you. Find out why Renna's has been a family favorite for over 40 years. 5 locations in Northeast Florida, Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach.
The Medical Group Management Association of Northeast Florida is proud to join forces with the Duval County Medical Society to host its first annual symposium on April 18th. Aimed at helping physicians and practice managers to smoothly operate their practice day to day, topics include healthcare trends impacting your practice, stress management and communication, and empathy in the workplace. To register, go to nfmgma.com. That's nfmgma.com. All attendees must be employed by a medical group or practice.
Hey, boss, it's official. I am now a Safe Touch security customer.
What? After all the grief Safe Touch has caused us?
Boss, it makes sense. Think about it. If you were trying to protect your home from, well, guys like us, would you go with the cheap do-it-yourself alarm with the fake crash and smash deterrent?
My 5-year-old niece could get past those things.
Exactly. Or maybe you'd go with the ding-dong doorbell cameras that are getting hacked all the time.
Sure, if you don't care about privacy or safety.
Right, but Safe Touch systems have encrypted technology, so it's virtually hack-proof.
What are you, a Safe Touch spokesperson now?
Plus, Safe Touch has true crash and smash technology, the two-way communicator.
All right, stop beating me over the head with it. Basically, you got Safe Touch because the Crooks Are Us motto. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Yeah.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
It's time for another shout out to all the North Florida poker fans. This is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Poker Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. The Card Player Poker Tour returns to Jacksonville May 3rd. This series will host 12 total events and over $300,000 in guarantees. The main event features an $1,100 no-limit hold'em tournament with a $200,000 guaranteed prize pool. Don't miss your chance to take a shot at over $300,000. For more information, visit them on the web at bestbetjacks.com.
I swear to you know what, if y'all don't get y'all act together. Adults everywhere, will you stand the hell up? Stop being a bunch of wusses! What the hell is wrong with y'all?
The Stephen A. Smith Show, weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN 690.
This is Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
All right, I just got a text. Austin is right on tax comparison, but a reason NFL player is taxed is due to old tax law created for actors, entertainers, and athletes who commonly work in different states.
Gotcha. Brent isn't entertaining anybody, obviously, right?
That's right. Well, there is a good point to that. Like, I'm not entertaining people in London. Like, I'm entertaining people back here.
If they're watching you do stand-ups, you're entertaining them, though.
Yeah, but it's not
He's
on there.
come up with some really big loose balls. And he just did it.
That's entertaining.
Maybe I am entertaining people in London.
You are entertaining around the world, Brent.
Yeah, there we go.
How hasn't that gone viral? Come on.
What's taking so long? Action Sports Jack Stuart Weber with us. Weber, for a second there when you walked in, I was like, did he find the ugly hat from the NFL draft?
No.
Ooh, yeah.
This is an old school Super Bowl hat.
It is old school Super Bowl.
I liked it because it was a little teal and black.
Yeah, it's Super Bowl 52.
Yeah, 51.
51?
LI.
Oh, I didn't see.
The trophy looks like
guessed on the. Oh, okay.
For the people on
that
the
is
screen.
kind of deceiving.
Yeah, it looks like 52. I thought that was combined with it. By the way, the gear that we go to the Super Bowl every year.
Yeah.
And the gear at the Super Bowl gets worse and worse. You know, like at the Players' Championship, the gear gets better and better. We're going to be in Augusta next week, and the gear is good. Although I think they need to even make it a little different.
It's been the same for a few years now.
It's been pretty similar.
Yeah, they haven't really shifted.
They do have 942 polo shirts.
Yeah.
And they could use but guess what? Augusta ain't changing that.
No.
They're not doing
It's
a little
kind of
Tommy
the
Bahama.
It's the motto when you walk in. Augusta ain't changing.
Yeah. So, but the Super Bowl has been very disappointing in terms of what they have. I always try to find something when you go year after year, like maybe bring the kids something back different, a different looking shirt. It's all pretty blah.
Yeah, I didn't get a hat this year. I just wasn't impressed. I looked at them and
you know what I did this year? I got the what did we do one year for the Dream 18? The bucket hat.
Yeah.
So they had a bucket hat with like all the logos from all 53 Super Bowls. And I was like, it's kind of ugly, but it's different.
It's a good prize to give to somebody.
Well, that's what I do. I buy them for the Dream 18 when we have our golf tournament.
Brent, I understand that you're anti-hats and everything, but what are your feelings about the bucket hat?
No, I'm okay with the bucket hat. Like, listen,
me too. I actually get a bad rap.
Yeah, I am not anti-hat.
Okay.
I'm anti-NFL draft hat.
I think
those
everybody
are ugly.
is. I think everybody is.
What a response! It's so funny sometimes the stuff that gets a response on Twitter. That thing just kept clicking and clicking yesterday. But I
responded on that too.
Yeah, you did. It's one big word that I don't even still know what it means.
Bourgeoisie.
The bourgeoisie.
What does it mean?
Bougie, you know?
It's the middle class. That's just the middle class.
No,
yeah.
I was off.
Oh, I thought it was like Danish for baloney or something.
Why would it be Danish?
I don't know. I was trying to think of where you're from again,
Shots
but I
have been
can't
fired.
remember.
Are you from?
I'm not from Denmark, so
I know it.
not Danish. Dutch would be the right
There you
answer.
go. Sorry.
Sure.
I was getting at that.
The freaky deaky Dutch, as Dr. Evil would say.
That's it. That's us.
But
I'm sorry, that was gold member, by the way. I had to correct
I like
you.
the bucket hats.
Bucket hats are perfect for the beach. Like, they might be the best for going to the beach.
You know what the other thing is? You know what was perfect for bucket hats? Like, kids look so cute in bucket hats. Like, when your kids are like 2, 3, put Ronan in a bucket hat.
Hey, I've had Ronan in a bucket hat. And it had all, I think it was, is it 7 planets or 8 planets now? Because Pluto doesn't count. So it's 8 planets. Yeah, it had all 8 planets on it.
We all go,
Pluto wasn't
thank
there.
gosh Weber's in here.
Well, that's why I turned I didn't turn to Brent when I asked how many planets
You
there
looked
are. I
right at
turned
me when you said
directly to
7 or 8. I'm
Weber.
like, it was never 7. It was 9 at one point. Then
Okay,
it went
then it was
down to
8. Okay, 8.
Sure.
It had all 8 planets on it.
But I guarantee if you put your kid, maybe it's just your own kid, but I think kids in general, like 2 years old, 3 years old, in a bucket hat, it'll be one of your favorite pictures.
I mean, for training camp, the Chicago Bears, that's all I wore is bucket hats because obviously a regular hat's not going to fit me. But for whatever reason, a bucket hat fits me very well. So
I will once in a while throw fashion to the wind here at training camp in Jacksonville, and you wear a bucket hat, especially if you feel like you're just getting fried out there.
I had that
Crocs
on
and a
one
bucket
day
hat.
at the Players. I threw on our Dream 18 bucket
Yeah,
hat.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, Dream 18 bucket hat was a pretty good tea gift that year.
It was.
A little different.
It was very different, yeah.
You know, that's the hardest thing to find about doing the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 golf tournament is a tea gift because everybody's got a polo shirt from a golf tournament. So it's like,
So this
what
year,
else are you
do
gonna do?
the Payne Stewart hat, the Page Boy hat.
Hey, you know, that's not a bad idea.
Because we know you have an affinity for
I
the
do
Page
like
Boy
those.
hat for London stand-ups.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That would be good. You're onto something.
I'm not mad at that idea. I mean, I would never wear one, obviously, but I think I look good on you, Brent.
Why wouldn't you wear one?
It's not going to go good with my
Yeah,
face.
that's
Trust
true.
me. I just,
Are you
just
not,
the way
are you
my
not coming
face
to
is.
the Dream 18? Is that what you're saying?
I was
here,
not
or-
invited to the Dream 18, so I'm
Well,
just
not
waiting
yet.
for that invitation
It's still
in the
months
mail.
from now. It's months from now.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see if it works.
Let's talk sports.
We'll probably be live out there from 3
Instead
to
of
6
fashion.
anyway. So
Yes, we will. Actually. We will. And by the way, we should have some exciting news about the Dream 18 coming up shortly. Not like today, but in the next couple weeks, where it is, how you can be involved, and all that good stuff. Year 10 of the Dream 18. How about that?
historic.
Yeah, this is a milestone in Jacksonville, or at least for us. All right. You said it. Bryce Harper, you loved the bat flip.
Loved it.
Bryce Harper is kind of the trending name in sports. I like everything going on with Bryce Harper right now. I'm not going to lie. I tweeted last night. I said I still have mixed feelings about it in front of the national fans. And he got booed big
Makes it
time.
even better. Yep.
He got booed, and he didn't like it because I watched the post game. And see, I thought it was going to be one of those scenarios where he'd be like, yeah, man, listen, man, these fans were great for 7 years, and that, you know, I get it, you know, business sometimes, and I understand, and I've been a fan before. And he was like, I got those Philly fans. They'll root for me, 45,000 plus every time. He basically was like, I don't need these guys. I don't care if they boo me. So I could tell from his response that he didn't appreciate the booing.
A little bit of a bridge burner there.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like, do you burn that bridge? Do you want to tarnish that relationship or that first part of your career?
Well, I think it's interesting that it's too fresh right now. I mean, it's 4 games into the season. This guy already has hit a couple home runs. He's the talk of baseball and the Nats. So listen, this is why I feel for the national fans a little bit. It's like, that should be our guy. You know, and some people are like, well, they didn't make a big enough run at him. I was like, I think they pretty much ponied up almost $300 million for him, or at least discussed it. Unless I missed that, I thought that was their offer, or an offer that was being rumored that they were interested in that kind of deal. And he ends up getting $330 for 12 years, or 13, 12, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But
It was him for 12, Trout for 13. Is that what it
yeah,
was?
one of the others. But so I don't know. I think it's still fresh from a national fan. I get the booing. I think what will happen later on, he's still a young guy. At some point in his career, he'll come back to Washington.
13 years, by the way.
It was 13
years.
He'll come back. Maybe it's the next time they're back in D.C. And I do think he will get an ovation, although if he does what he did last night, double, single, home run, maybe not. And now he's adding to the fire, too, because he's saluting the fans out there with a little bit of a bow.
Yep.
There's theatrics all over the place with Bryce Harper right now, from the wink when he got to second base on a double, the fist pumps
The wave he
everywhere.
did from Fortnite.
The wave from Fortnite, which is the new thing in baseball, is do a Fortnite dance every time you get a hit.
Not mad at that.
And he's got obviously a handshake with every single guy. So he's coming across like he's just having way more fun in Philly. And while, okay, he might be. That's a good deal for Philly fans. It might be a good deal for baseball fans. What I'm saying is I have a little soft spot for those folks in Washington that watch this kid grow up into a star, tried to keep him, or at least tried a little bit to keep him, and they want him there in Washington. I think the fan base want him in Washington. And now it looks like he's having way more fun somewhere else.
Do you know
it's a girlfriend thing, man?
Do you know what's amazing to me about you, Brent, is the fact that you are totally against coddling quarterbacks. You think quarterbacks are too coddled. We shouldn't care about their feelings and emotions. But then you flip the coin, and all of a sudden, whoa, I feel bad for the fans. They lost Bryce Harper. I feel bad for baseball fans. Give me a break. It's part of the game.
Hey, typical athlete right here, Jacksonville.
Hey, I'm calling like I see it.
He doesn't care about you, the fans.
Oh, no, I'm calling like I see it.
He doesn't care.
Oh, I care about the fans.
How do you? These guys are paying $60, $80, $100 a game to go watch. They have a favorite guy. That was their guy, man. That was Bryce Harper.
Of
watch him since
jerseys
18, 19
there,
years old. How do you not feel for the National fans a little bit? Now, if it was Yankees fans, I wouldn't feel bad for them. But
Bryce, I miss you. I'm sorry. Come on.
Well, and then he goes to their park and he does all these dances and he's got a section full of Philly fans.
Love it.
And he hits a home run.
I love it.
You like it?
I love it because you know what? Yes, I care about the fans, Brent, but I care about the sport more. We're talking about it right now. We're literally in the second week of baseball, and it's an exciting time. People want to tune in and see what Bryce Harper is going to do next. Yeah. This is what baseball needs. This is what the sport needs. I'm sorry that Washington kind of got screwed and they're feeling bad about it, but baseball on a whole is benefiting right now because of what Bryce Harper is doing.
At least they're not the Expos.
Well, true.
I don't like Bryce Harper because he was on a rival team in the NL East, and he still is on a rival team in the NL East. So I have to not like him because my team's got to play this guy 18 times a year. They already got swept by him in the first series. I love what he's bringing for baseball. I just wish it was somebody else, like in the American League, that was doing that. That'd be great.
Yeah, listen.
Braves just need to keep on beating the Cubs, and we'll be fine.
And by the way,
see what we can do.
Thank you.
It's not lost on me all the other stuff. I think he is great for baseball right now. I think it's a great first week of baseball. And by the way, once again, which is just the way it is, nobody's talking about Mike Trout.
True.
Nobody said a boo about Mike Trout since he signed the deal. And he signed a huge deal, and he's a better player than Bryce Harper. But nobody said anything. But because it's Philly, because it's Bryce Harper, who is a polarizing guy, because he'll show the antics. Like, Trout's not doing that stuff. Trout might put his arm up in the air or fist pump or celebrate a slide, but he ain't doing all this. And I'm fine with it. The antics are fine. Now, we can get into, and we will a little bit later on, old school versus new school in the bat flipping and where the baseball is going and where's the line? You know, do you push the line? Does it go? I mean, are we going to look up in 5 or 10 years and people are dancing on the mound after a strikeout all across baseball? Yeah. You know, now some guys do. A lot of the Latino players are very emotional after a strikeout, and I think that's still looked at like that's okay, that's cool, like that's what it is. But are we getting to a point where Max Scherzer strikes somebody out and he's doing like a 360 pirouette on the mound?
If that's the case, I'll be talking about it. So do your thing, Max.
And maybe that's what baseball needs. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit, but let's talk a little football when we come back on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
Happy Hump Day. I'm Jake Mitchell. After only 8 weeks into its first season, the Alliance of American Football has suspended football operations due to a lack of funding. Here's co-founder Bill Polian with more.
Two things. One, we had to build the infrastructure from scratch. I'm talking about the non-football. The football infrastructure worked perfectly with a couple of small exceptions. The non-football infrastructure was hard.
And the Jags have signed another running back in a very busy backfield. This time it's Benny Cunningham, the former Ram ball carrier. The terms of the deal were not disclosed. And in the NBA last night, a milestone not reached since the days of Wilt the Stilt. Russell Westbrook stuffed the stat sheet with 20 points, 20 rebounds, and 20 assists. After the game, he dedicated his performance to slain rapper Nipsey Hussle. Don't forget to stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com.
The next generation of Galaxy is here, and T-Mobile is the best place to get it. Right now, you can get the Samsung Galaxy S10e for free when you buy any Galaxy S10 device and add a line. Have you seen these amazing new features? Wireless Power Share turns your phone into a wireless charger to power up other phones. No more cables, no more searching for outlets. And the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner lets you unlock with the first touch. So come to T-Mobile and get a free Samsung Galaxy S10e or up to $750 towards another when you buy any Galaxy S10 device and add a line. This offer won't last forever, so call 1-800-T-Mobile or visit a store today.
Via 24 monthly credits for well-qualified buyers. If you cancel service, credit stop and balance due. Contact us plus tax. Qualifying service, 2 or more lines and finance agreements required. 0 down plus $31.25 per month for 24 months. Pre-credit price $749.99, 0% APR.
It seems as if everyone is calling themselves an expert these days. Not when it comes to lawyers. The Florida Bar limits who can use the term expert to only those lawyers who are board certified. I'm one of the youngest board-certified civil trial lawyers in Northeast Florida, and am proud to be called an expert. I am John Phillips. Give me a call, 444-4444, or visit floridajustice.com. Offices Jacksonville, Jacksonville Beach.
Hey folks, Dave Benyon with Zero Res. The older I get, the faster time flies. Can you believe that Easter is just around the corner? And if you're like me, it's a big time for the four most important things in life: faith, family, friends, and food. If you need help getting your carpets and tile looking and feeling fresh and new, call us at Zero Res. Right now, have 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129, and we will clean the 4th room for free. That's right, the 4th room is on me. Zero Res, spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Sports Center updates at the top and bottom of every hour. And the latest breaking news in sports around the clock. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Welcome back. Get back to some baseball talk, including Bobby Cox. So a lot of Atlanta Braves fans' thoughts with Bobby Cox, who has fallen ill, the legendary Atlanta Braves manager. So we will talk a little bit about that and more about Bryce Harper and just baseball in general, how much this is big for the sport of baseball. People have varying opinions about baseball and where it's at from a health standpoint, and I think Bryce Harper feeds right into that. By the way, Harper today, 1 for 1. So he's now hitting 467 through the first 5 games. Though it does look, well, I shouldn't say it looks like. Is this game like in rain or something? 6-4, bottom of the 6th. Washington's winning. So it could be the first loss of the year by the Phillies, but a lot of baseball still to be played. Also, Statboy checks in, and he's a Nats fan. So he says, I hate Austin Lane.
Okay.
Oh, no, he
cool,
didn't.
man.
Oh, wait a minute.
No, that's fine.
Wait a second.
All good.
Yeah, he didn't really say that, but I kind of added that too. He said I was disgusted at the booze, not a huge Harper fan, but now we have him extra motivation. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I still don't blame the fans for booing, I guess, in that situation. I like when they give the guy a tip of the cap, too, when he comes back. But there are times where it hurts too much.
It's too fresh.
Hurts so good.
Too fresh right now.
Hurts so good. Who's that? Hurts so good.
Hurts so. It's John Cougar Mellencamp.
Yeah, nice. Very good.
Point.
Yeah. I knew that one well enough to even ask the question. Speaking of asking questions, Cruz has one.
Yeah, I got so maybe it's my Philly bias. But,
I think it is, but go on.
Of course it's your Philly bias.
But tell me if I'm wrong. Is Philly the most sports star-filled city right now?
Okay,
No.
so we were debating this. You guys said
no. The end. All right.
No.
What else we got today?
Okay, go ahead. List me the NBA guys they've got.
I mean, you got Embiid, you got Simmons, you got Butler. That's 3 off the bat from
First
the
of all,
NBA.
don't throw Butler like he's a worldwide sensation. I don't think he is.
But he's still a star.
He's an all-star.
He's got star power.
He's an all-star, but okay, go on. Sorry.
Listen, he had enough star power to be like the talk of the NBA before the league got started because he held his team hostage.
Well, anybody does that, they're going to get talked about, though. Just
I don't
saying.
know about anybody.
Okay, sorry. Please continue.
In Philadelphia, TJ McConnell is a star. I know he's not a big NBA star around, but TJ McConnell is like that local guy. So
you can't. Okay,
go to another sport. To the next sport.
JJ Redick, I think, is more popular than TJ McConnell.
JJ Redick might actually be be considered a star.
and
You could be.
Okay, well, he's not. First of all, but I'm just saying.
But it's
what
okay.
are we doing
name
right
power.
now?
Hey, it's okay. You had 3 guys. I'm
Yeah,
with you. All
go
right.
on.
I'm
Next
in your
sport.
corner right now, but you have to transcend Philadelphia and really transcend sport.
Okay.
And
You
I
got
think those guys
Giroux.
do.
Giroux for the Flyers. He's a big name for the Flyers. He's
Well, I'll take your word at hockey.
Okay.
Because let's be honest.
And
I
then
don't think any player transcends
We're going
hockey.
Claude
I'm
Giroux.
not-
That's the best we got.
for the
PK Subban is pretty transcendent, honestly.
Okay.
Well, because he's like the only black player in the NHL. Like a couple years ago when he played for the Nashville Predators,
I get it. And like,
he was
listen,
very well
Sidney
known.
Crosby's a huge name in hockey, but is he transcendent anymore?
No,
I mean, it's just that sport. The sport isn't transcendent with
I
anybody.
get what you're saying.
There's
Brett.
that one guy from Canada. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz, Eagles.
So we're just going to go one,
See, this is
one
where,
guy
see,
on the
this is
Eagles.
where, but this is where you guys disagreed.
Yeah,
Carson
one guy on
Wentz
the Eagles.
is transcendent.
How?
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
How?
Carson Wentz is a big star in the NFL.
Bren, I can name 6-7 quarterbacks that are more popular and bigger stars than Carson Wentz right now.
Well, first of all,
Off
in the
top of my
NFL,
head.
almost every quarterback that starts is somewhat of a star.
Okay, so there you go. So
But-
then what sets Carson Wentz apart from those quarterbacks?
Because
then?
I think he would be considered amongst, let's see, the guys that have less than 3 years in the NFL. He's considered one of those guys that can be elite.
Can be.
He's not elite yet.
Well, I didn't say that, but I'm saying he gets put in those categories. Like Andrew Luck, before he was elite, was put in, say, hey, this guy's going to be the next elite guy. We're always looking for that. Right now, Deshaun Watson's in that category. Carson Wentz is in that category.
Andrew Luck is doing body armor commercials and is known all around the world for his,
neckbeard
appeal and advertising.
Oh, no, now he is. I'm talking about if you go back to the beginning, his first 2 or 3 years, he was the guy that could be that.
Would you have called him a star then?
Yeah, I think he was a star coming out of college.
Because when I think of Carson Wentz, I don't see him anywhere. I don't see him on ads. I don't see him guest appearing on shows. I don't see him doing big interviews. You have the potential to be a star. He's not a star yet. He's missed half his games because he's been hurt.
Here's a good question. Who's more popular, Nick Foles or Carson Wentz in Philly?
Well,
honestly.
That's debatable.
That is
but
debatable.
By the way,
Well, there you go.
because that's debatable makes you a star.
He's not a star. He's a star in Philadelphia.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he's a star all over the NFL.
I think, yeah.
I disagree.
Any other Eagles?
I mean,
it is an interesting team, though, to that point. Like, the Eagles are 2 years removed from the Super Bowl championship. So I understand your questioning. But if you look at their team from a star value standpoint, this defense is good. But, I mean, Fletcher Cox is unbelievable. But is he a star? Not really. He's like an interior defensive lineman. Other than Aaron Donald, there's no such thing as a star, an interior defensive lineman. Doesn't feel like. Their running back situation. I mean, Sproles for a long time felt like a star, fantasy football-wise, all this stuff, but he's not. You mentioned Alshon Jeffrey. He's not, though.
No.
Oh.
I mean, he really isn't. I mean, he's not A.J. Green. He's not Julio Jones. He's not Odell Beckham
Hopkins,
Jr.
not even close.
So,
even Chris Long, I mean.
Now, Chris Long, yeah, I agree. I can't say he's a star either.
But I think if any guy that has marketed his brand, and I call it a brand because that's just an NFL term, but I mean the guy does a lot of work in charity and whatnot, so he's known from that.
Good for selling dog masks.
Exactly, like is on the field. I guess maybe Kelsey, the center. Listen, Kelsey to me was a pretty big star just for the fact that he's
Zach
a center.
Ertz.
No, Ertz. I mean, Ertz is a fantastic tight end, but a star from a marketing standpoint, I don't see it.
Do you think he could get there? Because I think Ertz, at least, and maybe it's because I'm too tuned into Philly, but I feel like he is mentioned all the time.
But the conversation isn't can they be?
It is,
need
okay.
to
Are they
be.
stars?
Okay, so
this
let's flip
purpose.
the question. Who else is? Like, what city? So Kuz asked the question.
Because
Is
we
it the
haven't,
most
we haven't even
star-filled?
gotten to the Phillies yet either, so we haven't even.
Well, no, you're right. Now you do have Harper.
Okay.
Hoskins.
Yeah.
Hoskins across baseball is big.
Romuto.
JT
Nah, but I would say
go
like
Suns,
Arrieta has a chance to be would be that guy maybe because of his last few years, but Harper's such a big star, he carries the mantle.
He's going to be.
Listen, you don't need to have 3 of them. I think you're talking about like, can you fill the void on each team? Each of your big teams.
I mean, one could argue Wisconsin. You got Aaron Rodgers, Christian Yelich, and you got the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That's a good if we're going statewide.
Oh
yeah, I'm going specific. Yeah,
but then if we get to include the Steelers now in Pittsburgh,
that's okay. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm sorry,
but I think. I didn't see New England's interesting, but it's all Boston teams. Kyrie Irving, Tom Brady,
Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
Mookie Betts. I think you could do that in almost every city, is my point. LA's got LeBron James. They've got Mike Trout. Of course, they have multiple teams.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Yes, I'm bringing soccer into it because if you're talking about stars, you need to talk about the MLS.
Is he big?
Oh, my God. Is he big? Yes. Worldwide?
Yeah.
He is a monster
Is he really?
star. Oh, yeah.
No idea.
Oh, man. He's from Sweden, right? The guy with the ponytail? Yeah, that dude's really popular.
I believe you. I'm just saying.
No, I hear you. I'm trying to think of
in researching Kuz's point, the best guy they've got is Alejandro Bedoya. So I'm sorry, Philadelphia.
I was just about to ask. What about Philly?
You were going to throw that in there, but
he was Googling it.
What about the Philly Soul?
Yeah, all right.
We're all good.
You know, what's interesting in your context, though, is, LA has a ton of them, right? But even Lonzo Ball is transcendent, even though he doesn't deserve to be. I mean, the name, the place where they're at, and so to that, it actually, the better way to spin this a little is, why is New York so starving of them in some areas? Now, listen, the Yankees have them. Anybody puts on the Yankees uniform, but Judge is huge. He's big in stature, but he's also huge. Stanton, even Boone, the manager. Yeah. I mean, most people will know that. The Mets have some star power, and they always will. But if you start looking at the Knicks, right?
Knicks are
void of it right now.
Just the unicorn.
Who's on the Brooklyn Nets?
D'Angelo Russell would probably be considered a star.
Isn't Joe Harris the guy that won the three-point contest?
Joe Harris,
he
no, he wouldn't be.
He's not a star, but I'm saying he won the three-point contest.
Right.
Now there's Eli
Russell.
in New York.
Eli, Odell.
Oh wait, Odell just left, but there's now. The Jets actually have some. They've got Sam Darnold. Would he be considered? I don't know, but if not,
Barkley?
Le'Veon Bell would.
Saquon Barkley
and Saquon Barkley and the Giants. So they, they do, but they're also like not across all the. That's what's so weird about the New York Knicks and Brooklyn. In those markets, it's almost hard not to have star power, and they don't. They really don't.
And I mean, to be fair, I know it's hockey, but the Islanders are actually having a really successful season. I think they're in first place right now. So the Islanders are really surging for the first time in a while.
And even in years past, even hockey, as it kind of falls off the national conscience, I think, from a daily basis, the Rangers seemingly always had somebody that you could associate the Rangers with.
Yep.
And I just don't know if you even do that anymore. And again, your hockey folks are going to say, yeah, but that guy. I'm talking about everybody.
Yeah.
And it's harder to do. But it was a good question, Kuz. But I think really if you go around, the more and more you think about it, you can pretty much find if you're in a big
you can
city,
find equals in those other big cities.
Absolutely. I mean, if you go to Chicago, if you go to,
but that's the thing. I don't know if there's one that really stands out above all others as the home of stars, which is why Philly is trying to claim that mantle, I suppose.
I just can't believe you brought up T.J. McConnell out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
That's just a local thing. TJ is such a great success story.
Well, so really, if you would have been right on the money, if you said, "Can you think of a better like?" Boston for this century has been title town.
Well,
right?
And you have to give it to Boston because they've won the most championships.
That's what I'm saying.
And,
they're winning a championship every year in
make
something.
Stars. Yeah.
And championships do make stars, and they make them transcendent stars because you see that. But Philly, in that respect, is right up there because they've got a Super Bowl championship. Their baseball team is knocking on the door, and they're going to be one of the best teams in Major League Baseball this year. Their basketball team is on the verge and has been the talk of the NBA, or one of the talks of the NBA in recent years. Trust the process, all that stuff. And they were in the LeBron sweepstakes. And they do have stars. I mean, Ben Simmons is, I think, a star. And Embiid is a star. And hockey-wise, I don't even know for the Flyers. But the point being, Philly right now can probably boast that. They can say, hey, we can flex our muscles knowing we might be on the verge of the next title town for the next handful of years. And in all sports. And I think that's probably fair to say when it comes to
the Union,
Philadelphia.
No, they're not going to win the MLS.
But it really is amazing. As you ask that question, you think about the Philadelphia Eagles, and while I would argue Carson Wentz is, it's pretty amazing that they don't have more transcendent stars. I mean, Jacksonville has more transcendent stars on their football team than the Eagles do. And they really do now because they got Foles, they got Philly's star. But Leonard Fournette is more widely known across the NFL. Jalen Ramsey, more widely known. I could even argue probably Calais Campbell, more widely known across the NFL than maybe anybody other than Carson Wentz on the Eagles. Am I missing somebody? I mean, maybe Ertz.
I just feel like Ertz is talked about a lot. I'm not saying that he's more widely known. Maybe they're equal in that aspect.
Yeah, it might be. And he's got the Super Bowl now to pump it up. And I mean, fantasy football changes all this for people, but
true. But I just feel like you ask people who the top tight end is, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Because you see him in the commercials for McDonald's and whatnot.
Until a month ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, it said Gronk.
Gronkowski, yeah.
You're right. So he actually goes under the radar a little bit because of that.
One city to keep an eye on, though, obviously with football, you have the Cleveland Browns. With the NBA draft coming up, if Zion goes to Cleveland, and as far as the Cleveland Indians, they're pretty competitive. Not really, I feel like, a star on the team, Brent, would you say?
No, they actually get overlooked. Like Francisco Lindor is a really good player, and he probably doesn't get enough attention. Probably in a lot of other cities would have won the MVP last year, maybe. Yeah. Or did he win the MVP? Mookie Betts won the MVP, right? Or did Trout win the MVP? Betts won the MVP.
Betts won the MVP.
But Lindor could have made a case for MVP.
So,
but that's a good point. And by the way, their football
Baker
team.
Mayfield, too.
Well, not only that, OBJ,
yeah,
Baker Mayfield, and maybe some more. I mean, you might have a few guys on that list.
If Baker's on that list, then Wentz is on that list.
Is Baker on the list?
Baker's up there, man, because
I think he's higher than Wentz.
He is marketable.
Yeah. I think
the way he plays the game, the attitude that he brings.
You see him show up on shows. You see him show up at big events.
Because he's polarizing.
Because he's polarizing.
Wentz is not polarizing. Wentz is a good dude, easy to root for. And to your point, Baker's been on the field a little bit more recently. All right, Ballin' and Fallin' when we come back on ESPN 690.
It's Golick and Wingo.
Boston was a pit of misery outside of the Celtics for decades in terms of winning. Okay, you had the Celtics and you had everything else that was kind of a big bowl of crap. These sports fans in Boston, they really have no idea how good they have it. And I wonder what it's going to take for them to understand the embarrassment of riches that has come their way.
Golick and Wingo, weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Hi, this is Dave Barker, owner and client of IHRS. Do you have thinning or balding hair? Now the same technology doctors have used for years to restore cells and tissue growth can restore your hair, utilizing your own plasma and stem cells. PRP can slow or stop your hair loss and restore your thinning hair. Now the procedure is clinically proven safe and effective with no downtime. Call 904-777-IHRS. IHRS is the leader in hair restoration and offers a trademark procedure, NeoGraft hair transplant, the latest technology in hair restoration, laser treatments, and now PRP. This year, grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for your free evaluation and see the latest technology, PRP, right here in Jacksonville. Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477.
Life has choices, like sweet or spicy. Car's Sweet and Salty Trail Mix cures your cravings with a mix of sweet raisins, chocolates, peanuts, and sunflower kernels. Or if you like a little more bite with every bite, then grab a bag of Car's Sweet and Spicy Trail Mix, made with honey roasted peanuts and Cajun corn sticks. When it comes to sweet or spicy, reach for an American classic, Car's Trail Mix. We've got your choice in the bag. Available at Walmart.
From the NBA to the NFL, we've got you covered. The worldwide leader in sports. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick and Wingo. You're listening to Action Sports Jacks with our friend Brent Martineau on ESPN 690.
Hey, welcome back on a Wednesday edition of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. You can check us out on all different platforms. Check us out on Facebook, ESPN 690. How about on Twitch? ESPN 690 Jacks is our Twitch name. Go follow us on there on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jackson. Also our YouTube channel, Action Sports Jacks. A myriad of ways to follow along here on the program, 3 to 6 daily on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Action Sports Jack, Stuart Weber with us. Coos is in the house, opening up debate because he's a Philly lover. And, we love that, too. Tomorrow we'll be at the baseball ground, Shrimp opening day. Friday we're going to be at Singing the Blues at the beach over at Sneakers. We will be located. So come on by and say hello on Friday afternoon as we hit the road once again. 3 months into this thing, and I feel like we hit the road about every other day.
I feel like a minor league baseball team sometimes, with you, Brent. But hey,
we
I'm
need
just
a
along
bus
for the ride.
That's a
we
good
do
idea,
need a bus.
man. See, this is one way I could get my picture on the side of a bus.
We need to do a bus.
That's a goal in life.
Yeah.
Bus, team cruise. We have to do a lot of these things here.
I had it on a
lot of goals.
Billboard was a pretty big one for me in my last market.
You had it on a billboard?
Yeah.
You son of a gun.
Any pictures?
I have one picture of so it was two things. It was one where I had the team photo of us. It was an electronic billboard, so I don't know if that counts, but I think it does.
Still
it
counts. I mean, it's 2000s.
But then they had another one where they were promoting Wheel of Fortune because we were a CBS affiliate.
Pat Sajak,
and so
what's up?
it had the empty spaces. And then it said the clue was WRBL Sports, and then it would flip over and it would say Stuart Weber in the letters of Wheel of Fortune. I was
that's awesome.
Pretty good.
I was pretty happy about that one. I was like, this is pretty
How
cool.
was that your phone wallpaper or something, man?
I mean,
that's awesome.
It was 8 years ago when it happened.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Still would be mine.
Yeah.
We got to do that. I'm jealous right now of you.
Well, and Stuart, so I presented this idea to Brent. I want to get your thoughts about it.
Sure.
So we're looking at prices for billboards here in Jacksonville, and we came across I think it was $2,000 basically, and we didn't really know a lot about it. If it was a week, a month, whatever. Do you think we should get one giant billboard in Jacksonville, or take my idea and get about, I don't know, maybe 15, probably a baker's dozen worth of billboards around podunk little towns across the U.S. where, people in a small town be like, ESPN 690, I gotta check this out. Who are these guys? They look crazy.
Maybe down the road. I'd say start here in Jacksonville. Actually,
Okay.
I would say something different. I would get 1,500 ESPN 690 stickers and just place them everywhere.
Now we're
a little
talking.
viral
That's
ad
a little
campaign.
cheaper.
Now
See,
we're talking.
Weber knows how to be cheap.
Yep.
He knows how to save money.
I mean,
frugal. Sorry.
yeah. I spend my money when I need to. And
That's-
because I save it at other times.
That's a good idea.
Stickers.
Just start putting stickers
It's
everywhere.
a very soccer thing.
Well, it is, but kind of like the Duval till we die.
Sure, same thing. Well,
DTWD.
And the whole, Bold City Brigade has kind of soccer roots to it in a way.
Yeah,
In the way they were formed and how they act in some ways.
Yeah, I
So,
like it.
Yeah. There you go.
And they listen to the program, so we love Bold City
Shout
Brigade. Hashtag Duval till we die. I got one on my computer. You can see it on the feed. I take it everywhere I go.
Brent's got one sticker on his computer, and it literally says Duval till we die.
It
So
does.
props to Brent.
Got that. I got caught up in the AFC Championship stuff. See, I think that was in Pittsburgh, and they started putting it everywhere. They put it on police officers and everything.
For the longest time, I had no idea what that meant, and I felt like I was too late to the bubble to ask, so I just pretended I knew what it was and would hashtag it all the time, and just was like, I have no idea what this means. And then someone said it in passing, and I was like,
There is that stuff.
See, now I'm intrigued with these stickers and everything. Can we sponsor a NASCAR driver for one race and pay him to take somebody out so he gets on TV?
Has to be
no,
the natty
I'm
car.
serious. He has to do
Gotta
something
say, that's
crazy.
expensive.
Yeah. Well,
Natty car.
Stickers
That's the one we
cost a
gotta be
little
on.
less.
What's going? Or just stick into the pits and put the stickers on the car without him even knowing it.
Well, just think about this. Here in this town, if you just put a sticker on every car, it's like having a NASCAR driver because there's crashes
good
all over the
point.
place, and so we can put it on TV that way.
Yeah.
When the cameras come out.
a lot of crashes.
We're just going to drive up to every accident and put our sticker on it and then just drive by.
Hope you're doing all right.
Yep. You all right? All right. We'll see you. And then just casually
If
put
we're
the
gonna
sticker
do
on a car accident.
actual people's cars, we should do the magnets.
I was going to say magnets so you can drive by and just throw them and they'll stick, and then you don't even have to get out of the car. It's
Now we're talking.
All right.
Good brainstorming session.
This
here,
is
Jim.
great.
I'm going to be. We like to include
Make a
everybody on
PowerPoint.
this as we're going. I've made plenty of PowerPoints. I'm getting good at those. All right. Speaking of what you just said, outside the bubble, and it's too late to ask. I've got one.
Yeah.
Hit us with it.
What in the heck is all this OG talk?
There he is.
OG? Yeah. What's wrong with OG?
What is it?
He doesn't know what OG stands for.
Original.
Oh,
The original gangster.
original gangsta.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't afraid to do it like you were,
Oh, no.
but I see it everywhere, and I'm like, I missed something here.
Yeah.
Where did it come from?
Ooh.
It's a good question.
I feel like that's an early 90s thing.
I would say
No, it's not. It's like
No,
on
no.
Twitter everywhere. Everybody's like the OG this, the OG. Now there's, is there a show?
yeah, there's a Tracy Morgan
Tracy
show.
Morgan's got a show.
Is it called the OG?
I believe
Or
it
is it something
Yeah,
OG?
yeah, I think
yeah,
it's
something to that extent.
Ice-T
I
had
totally
a,
missed it though. I'm
Ice-T
just,
had
There
an
was a
album.
song, yeah.
Well, no, Ice-T had an album called OG, Original Gangster. I'm not sure when that came out. That had to be a long time ago because it's Ice-T.
Yeah.
so is this
So let's
like
go with him.
fashion? I mean,
Let
did
me
it come
look that up.
back?
It's probably like the GOAT. Everyone wants to use an acronym
Here we
for
go.
something or
Thanks
other.
a lot. OG, Original Gangster, came out from Ice-T in the early 90s, 1991. There you go.
Okay, but I just
But
lived.
the using of the term.
I just lived for the last 25 years and didn't hear it. 28 years, didn't hear it. Okay,
But I think
I've
now
heard of
it's-
Original Gangster before, but now OG is in everything. It's like LOL. Like you see it everywhere.
I think now it's to like symbolize an original thought or the OG thought. I was the OG that posted this meme. I was the first one type thing. That's at least how I've seen it used recently.
Okay, and that's probably the way it's been used, but I did not understand. I was like, what could this possibly mean? Like,
So there you go. Your rapper was the GOAT of OGs. If we want to keep using more acronyms.
Exactly.
on
There we
acronyms.
go. I'm just trying to picture Brent just shaking his head at the OG. Just come on.
And I almost wanted to tweet it at one time. I'm
Oh,
like, you
thank God
can't
you
do
did,
it,
Brent.
man. You can't do it. But then
wish
I
you
brought
would've.
up, I'm shameless here. I don't care. I just had to do it.
Yeah, but then you're also tied to the show. You're tied to ESPN 690, as am I. So I feel like if you do that, then I'm doing that with you, and I don't want to be tied to that.
No, that's a good point, but I do feel like we're the OG of sports talk radio now.
I like it. I can.
I don't think
co-sign
that made any sense.
That doesn't. I don't
Probably
know if
not.
that works.
We're the original gangsters of sports talk radio. Yeah, that works.
So you can just say it. It doesn't have to make sense. That's
Exactly.
the point.
It doesn't have to be fact.
Sounds good.
It doesn't have to be fact.
No.
Don't let facts get in the way of a good story.
There we go.
Absolutely. How about ballin'? We were not even the OG of ballin' and falling.
Yeah, that's how
Driving
it goes.
Dish
The
podcast
Coos.
and Coos did that. I'm just going to drop OG throughout the rest of the show now.
Please do. Bet. All right.
Yeah, Bet's another one. I caught up on that recently.
Ballin'. Listen, when you're talking about All Elite Wrestling, they have the wrestlers, they have the vision, but now they have the voice. The voice is the great Jim Ross. Jim Ross, in my opinion, is one of the best professional wrestling commentators of all time. You remember him from the Attitude Era, my personal favorite time in the WWE universe. He was tied to Stone Cold, D-Generation X, all that stuff. So from that perspective, All Elite Wrestling getting Jim Ross on a 3-year deal. Obviously, he's gonna be the guy that's gonna be calling the Double or Nothing pay-per-view, but also he's gonna be in Jacksonville doing the shows as well for 3 years. Great signing by All Elite Wrestling. Really, probably the best guy in the market. Fantastic job in getting him.
We'll have to get him on the show when they come here for the July pay-per-view.
Absolutely. It's going to be a real slobber knocker, as Jim Ross would say.
By God, stop the
By
match.
God. Yeah. Slobber knocker.
Yeah,
Slobber knocker.
He's got some memorable.
How big is that move though? Seriously,
it's huge. I mean, it's absolutely huge.
I mean, you got Cody Ross now, the All Elite Wrestling.
Rhodes, yep.
I'm sorry, Cody Rhodes.
You good? You good?
I just mixed the two.
Yep.
Cody Rhodes and now Jim Ross.
Yeah. I mean, you have,
and I know you have others, but I'm just saying those are two headline names.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, for whatever reason, there was a falling out between Jim Ross and Vince McMahon. I know Jim Ross, he had a stroke, and that kind of cost him a lot in terms of commentating, so he had to take some time off. But he's back. He sounds great. He was doing a bunch of things for Ring of Honor, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a huge get for All Elite Wrestling.
Ballin' and Fallin' continues when we come back. My turn, and we are the OG of this commercial break.
Bet.
ESPN 690.
And about the only thing that you can say about Bryce Harper is that he ain't Mike Trout. But I got news for you. He might be in a better situation than Mike Trout.
The biggest names in sports radio.
Kyler Murray's a 10 and Josh Rosen's an 8 for this offense. You go Kyler Murray, you trade Rosen. If they're both 9s, then you keep Rosen and draft Nick Bosa.
On the biggest signal in Jacksonville.
And I think Nick led us on a historic run, and I wish him the best in Jacksonville. He's one of the best teammates I've ever had.
This is ESPN 690.
When injury or trouble finds you, what do you look for in a lawyer? A lawyer recognized as a board-certified expert in civil trial? What about a lawyer who doesn't look to charge you for every stamp, photocopy, or mile traveled? What if I told you we offer both, and an attorney will personally meet with you? I am John Phillips. Give me a call, 444-4444, or visit floridajustice.com. Offices Jacksonville, Jacksonville Beach.
Winter is coming to the Seven Kingdoms. That's a legitimate fear, but you shouldn't fear freedom. No annual contract and no bulky hardware is something to celebrate. You don't have to fear cutting the cord and switching to DirecTV Now, especially since DirecTV Now Plus and Max packages include HBO at no extra charge. So you get all the best movies and original shows like Veep, and you can catch every episode of the final season of Game of Thrones premiering April 14th. Don't fear freedom. Get DirecTV Now. Compatible device required. Charges, exclusions, and restrictions apply.
The weather's heating up, which means it's the perfect time to get that next job done. At AutoZone, we have the free services you need to do it right. Car not starting? The solution starts at America's #1 battery destination. We'll test your battery for free and help you figure out the issue, which means you can do the job right the first time, saving you time and money down the road. Getting the job done just got easier. Let us help you at more than 5,600 locations nationwide. Restrictions and details in store.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. One day after becoming the first Murray State player to be named first-team All-American, Ja Morant will declare for the NBA draft. He'll make an announcement later today. Tennessee guard Jordan Bone will also enter the draft, but will keep his options open. The Indians signed manager Terry Francona to a 2-year extension. Francona's deal now runs through the 2022 season. Cleveland shortstop Francisco Lindor will miss at least 2 more weeks with a sprained left ankle. Braves outfielder Ronald Acuna Jr. made his major league debut less than a year ago, and he now has a new 8-year contract worth $100 million. Jason Stark of The Athletic.
This guy had a chance to become the first $500 million player because he was going to hit free agency so young. And so there's no doubt he left hundreds of millions of dollars on the table.
Jason Stark on Spain and Fitz. Lakers guard Lonzo Ball has filed a lawsuit against the co-founder and former manager of Big Baller brand, Alan Foster. Ball accuses Foster of embezzling millions of dollars.
Brought to you by Barbasol. Hey, sports fans, Barbasol is offering you a chance to score big when you join the Barbasol Shave Club. Grab your premium starter kit for just $1.99 today with code SHAVE at Barbasol.com.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, it's 4 o'clock on a Wednesday. Beautiful day in Jacksonville. We got by a couple of days on Monday and Tuesday. Actually, Monday was brutal. Tuesday was 50-50. Today,
Monday was brutal.
Fantastic. Hopefully having a good Wednesday. And heck, if you get out of work a little bit early, or maybe you're retired listening to the show on the back porch. Maybe you're like my in-laws doing that right now at my house. Well, hopefully you're having a little bit of a cocktail. Get ready to make one. It's happy hour horn time on a Wednesday. I think.
Grab a drink, get a shot, and tip your star tenders, and maybe take a slobber knocker of spirits if you got it in you.
He's back-to-back good days. I mean,
thanks, man.
Poetic almost with the happy hour horn. By the way, Kuz, I mean, how much more of a lead-in do you want for the happy hour horn?
I wasn't listening.
Obviously.
Beautiful.
I think from now on, Brent, just go back there and press the button yourself, man, and quick run back in.
Give me that one. Can I hit that button?
We're asking
somehow?
too much of Kuz.
Welcome back, Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Action Sports Jack, Stuart Weber with us as well, and Kuz, of course. We got Ballin' and Fallin'. You just did yours with All Elite Wrestling, and as I say, we do have to get some of those guys on. First of all, I think you'd love it. Diamond Dallas Page, still one of your favorite interviews since we started this thing, and we will try to make that happen in the near future with All Elite Wrestling. And for me, Ballin' is... How about one of the Nice Panthers who ended up in the state championship game in girls basketball? Her name is Camille Hobby. Florida Dairy Farmers 2019 Miss Basketball Award. Pretty good stuff.
The Florida Dairy Farmers?
That's who sponsors it.
Okay, no, that's cool. I didn't know there's dairy farmers actually in Florida, to tell you the truth. But
Oh,
no,
man.
that's a huge honor.
Milk here.
You see all the cows in Florida?
I haven't, honestly.
South of here.
I'm being serious. I haven't.
Have you seriously? How much have you traveled the state of Florida?
I've traveled
Like fly to
east
Miami?
west. No, I've never I'd flown to Miami, yeah, but I've never, I guess, driven to Miami. I haven't really been south. I haven't been past Tampa.
Oh yeah, well you'll have to see it.
Okay.
Once you get about past Tampa,
So is
there's
the past Tampa's where like the dairy farms? and
Yeah, I
everything
mean,
are?
well, listen, between here and Tampa, depending on which way you go, of course, you go to Ocala, and you've got a bunch of land and farm, and that. I mean, it's
Lots
all
of
over
horse-
the place.
horse farms out there,
Farms
big
there.
horse
I've seen the
area.
horse farms. I've seen the horse farms.
But then south, yeah, I think
Where
really
there's horses,
south.
cows are not far behind.
No,
They're just a little
it's
slower.
really amazing in Florida, because you think Orlando, you think Miami, you think Tampa, and now Jacksonville's really growing too. It's amazing how much land is in Florida.
No, I mean, it's
just like land that's
super
not
spread
used.
out.
My
Yeah.
point is, you know.
Well, where I grew up in West Palm Beach is as perfect of an example as you can get, because up and down that coastline on the Atlantic, I mean, you go in a couple miles off the coast, it's just wall-to-wall cities, all the way from Vero Beach down to Miami.
Yeah.
But you go another 5 miles inland, and it's swamp.
Just nothing.
It is nothing.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Jacksonville. I mean, look at Jacksonville's biggest city land-wise, and now we're building on it.
All in St.
Every
Johns
inch of
County.
it.
Yeah.
It feels like right now. But anyway, my bullet is Camille Hobby.
I was going to say, let's get
well,
back to
you're
the
the one
real
that brought
story
this
here.
up.
I know.
She's
I
a
know.
Florida Dairy
I'm sorry.
Farmers 2019 Miss Basketball Award winner, and
Shout out to her.
well-deserved.
Headed
the
to NC
Nice
State.
Panther going to NC State. And here's a little reaction when we caught up with her on CBS 47 Fox 30 earlier today.
Just a lot of hard work. Every single day getting up when it's 8 o'clock in the morning, then going throughout the day, workouts, and then coming back out at night. It's just been a lot of hard work, and to have my name here at Nice, it's just a great feeling.
And you've got a few things in between, but next stop is NC State. How excited are you to get up there to Raleigh and get this thing going?
I'm really excited. NC State's my dream school. I've been waiting a long time to finally go up there. So for it to be so close and right around the corner, I'm just really excited. I know that it's going to be a lot of hard work, but I'll be ready for it.
There you go, Camille Hobby and Marcel Robinson getting that this morning in St. Johns County for Nice High School. So congratulations to her. You know, we really do have, I would say, a pretty lengthy list now of talented female basketball players that have gone on to play SEC, ACC, the Tennessees of the world. Potter's House is the one that we had, I think, even a Connecticut commit years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
On the ladies' side?
Yeah, I think. They were loaded one year, and they had a bunch of different teams. But recently, a young lady from Ribault, right, went to Tennessee. Renaya Davis. And obviously Camille Hobby, really good player. So good girls basketball in the area.
By the way, we might end up with the Mr. Football, Miss Basketball, and Mr. Baseball all in Jacksonville in the same year.
That's a good
We got
point.
plenty of guys who could easily win Mr. Baseball.
Yeah, and two really topping the list with Hunter Barco and Tyler Callahan. So good call right there.
Shout out to her. She's going to enjoy that NC State student environment, because I almost got puked on when I played at NC State when I was a college football player. Well, what? I'm telling a story here, Brent.
I mean, you took this nice ballin' of mine that I had, and you've gone from
giving her
you're killing
props.
dairy farms, and now you're talking about throwing up at NC State.
Well, the only time I ever got almost threw up on at a football game when I was playing in it was at NC State, because I had to get I cracked open my chin and I had to get staples, so I was toward the sideline. And the way their stadium set up for the football team, their students were right pretty much on top of the way of visitors of their sideline. So the guy was stapling my chin. The guy's like, because there was a lot of blood, obviously. He's like, "Oh, dude, I could hear him in the back. Oh, man, that's a lot of blood. I'm going to be sick." And then, yeah, sure enough, he proceeded to projectile his stuff right all over me. And, yeah, there you go.
Hey, and that's a great story.
You're welcome.
And by the way, Camille, who I continue to honor in my ballin' segment here today.
And I'm falling.
You are now my fallen segment. Forget it. I just crossed off everything else on my list, and now it's you. But I did not mention Marion Hobby's daughter, former Jags defensive lineman, defensive line coach. That's his daughter.
That.
Yeah. Marcel just informed me.
How about that?
Yeah.
Dang.
Little factoid.
A little talent in the family.
All right. Guess so.
All right. How about you go for fallen now, and we change the subject?
I feel like you already did, but we'll go ahead and go double or nothing here. Fallen. It feels really weird to say
this. Is it
this.
TJ McConnell?
Nope. It should be, though, honestly.
You are going to hate on that.
Oh, absolutely,
Point
man.
guard, man. Come on.
Dude,
Dude, that should be a drop. on the show.
I know who he is. I mean, I play FanDuel sometimes, so I know who TJ McConnell is. But the fact that you brought him up in your thing. Anyways.
He's a local star.
Fallen. This is going to sound really weird to say because this guy has been balling his whole entire life. One of the best safeties of all time. But Ed Reed, I'm sorry, man, but you're falling. This past weekend was a Torrey Smith celebrity basketball game in Baltimore, and one of the participants obviously was Ed Reed. Now, I'm not hating on Ed Reed's basketball playing abilities. I have no idea if he's good or not. Doesn't really matter. What I'm hating on with Ed Reed and why he's falling to me is the fact that he wore a fitted hat and a watch that could probably put all our kids through college, Brent, on the basketball court. I feel like there's no space on a court for wearing a baseball hat when you're playing and wearing an expensive watch.
No, you shouldn't be. You have to take that stuff off.
Take it off.
It was an inside game, right?
This was an inside
Not on
game.
The black court.
This was in a gymnasium. He was wearing a fitted baseball cap and what looked like a Rolex.
Huh. Well,
falling.
Yeah, that's falling.
Yeah. And I hate to do it, man, but I don't care who you are. If you wear a ball hat on a court, I'm going to let you know about it.
That's like a style faux pas.
That's like wearing a GoPro during a game and getting teed up for it.
Might have happened.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, it has happened.
I'm weirdly okay with the hat over the watch.
I was going to say the watch is worse.
Yeah, the watch is dangerous.
The watch, you can actually get someone hurt.
See, the hat bothers me more because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it doesn't. But the hat is like $30. The watch probably was like $300,000.
Yeah, but maybe he had to know what time it was at a certain moment.
Yeah,
they
have
No,
clocks
it's like
in the
there's
gym.
a big clock on the wall that keeps score, too.
I mean, there's a game clock, but is there like a regular clock? I don't know, Kuz. Were you there?
No, but if it's in a gym or something, I'd assume there's a clock.
Debatable. Kuz, okay, so listen to this. So the next time you go to a basketball game at Jacksonville Jacksonville Memorial Arena.
Five-star veteran, yeah.
And the next time you go watch a tournament game there, don't bring your phone, don't bring a watch, and see what time it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to be able to tell from the sun what time it was.
You did?
Yeah, I used to be able to do that.
Ty would tell you?
No.
I can't wait. I can't wait to do this. Kuz,
Very
we're
good.
going to go to the tournament games. No phone, no watch. I'm going to turn to you and be like, hey, Kuz, what time is it? And you're going to stress out and you're going to struggle.
Am I
Probably
allowed to
has it in the
use
ribbon board,
a media pass to get into the back
No,
rooms
sir.
area?
You are a spectator. No.
Okay. We'll see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
All right. Now that Lane has hijacked this segment, I'm going to go with my fallen. Fallen is the Red Sox. But it's also Major League Baseball. Red Sox are off to a horrendous start. Their starting pitching is very good. So you don't panic this time of year. But they're off to a bad start. And actually, Chris Sale pitched well yesterday, gave up 1 run. They still lost 1-0. But why is Major League Baseball, unlike so many other sports, well, maybe I'm just thinking the NFL, but the Red Sox are the world champions. They won the World Series. They're the defending champs. And they throw them out in Seattle and Oakland to start the year? They throw them on a West Coast trip, which is, by the way, not very easy for any sports teams to do. But not that I'm talking about easy, but you even forget about them. Like, it's like they don't even exist in the first week of the year because they're out on the West Coast. I know I'm a Red Sox guy. This isn't really why I'm doing it. I'm serious about this. Like, why would, in the NFL, you get the marquee matchup. Usually it's the Patriots and Chiefs or Patriots. I understand this year is going to be Chicago and Green Bay, but there's even a story behind that because of the 100 years. What the heck, Major League Baseball?
That's
I
weird.
mean, you're throwing your defending champ. And not, by the way, this isn't a defending champ like the Kansas City Royals that nobody really cares about. I mean, it's the Boston Red Sox, which is one of your marquee teams in your league. And to start the baseball season, you are throwing them on the West Coast to play at 10 o'clock at night.
That's a good point.
It doesn't make
I
any
didn't even
sense.
think about it at all.
I enjoyed watching the end of the game last night at the bar. That was good.
Well, listen, I don't mind it because we stay up late, right? But it's still
It's really
still
late.
odd.
Yeah.
And by the way, the other part of that is they were on ESPN Plus, so I couldn't watch them on regular
Did they
TV.
open up at home, though, or did they go to the West Coast right away?
No, they went.
So,
First
like-
6 games were on the road.
Yeah.
West Coast.
Well, don't you, like present the trophy and whatnot and, hang the banner?
Well, they'll do it when they
I'm
come
saying,
home.
but why wouldn't you do that, the opening day? The opening day of baseball would make the most sense to me, just like the NFL used to until this year had the Patriots,
Or
as
it's
a
the
ceremony.
second series where you go on the road and then home or
Yeah,
something.
and that's the point. I mean, they'll do it
Brent,
now.
it makes you wonder, man.
Now, wait a minute. There is one caveat to this, and I would like to know, because I'm kind of talking off the top of my head in this part, but I'll have to look it up. The Patriots Day, which is Boston Marathon Day, is always a big Boston day. So they have to be home around that. So if maybe there's something in the calendar, and I have not looked at that, but maybe there's something in the calendar that they would have to have to get them home during that time of year or that stretch. It had to play out this way. Possibility. I'll give the MLB a little bit of a break there if that's the case. I have no idea. But if that's not the case, it really makes no sense to put your champion on the West Coast and on the road for 6 straight days.
Yeah, and I get you wanting to do, because if you're going to go on the West Coast, you're going to group them together, right? You don't want to have to go.
You have to do that.
You have to do it that way.
Yeah.
But then send another West Coast team to start over there, you know?
Yeah.
So that first series, at least like even in the Southern League, which is where the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp play, you're home for a series and then away. Or away and then home. No matter what, you're getting a home series within the first 2.
Within the first 10 days.
That's how they have it set up.
Yeah. And listen, even if you really want to go, and this is not me bellyaching, the Red Sox will be fine. And if they're not, they're not. But
championship hope's over.
They even go to play Seattle, who's got 2 games under their belt and is rested back from the Japan trip. And they get to play. And they should play at home, by the way, Seattle. They should have played at home after that Japan trip. But anyway, I don't get it. I don't get it from Major League Baseball. And I understand it's a little different. Football highlights that Thursday night, differently than any other sport. The NBA, but in that sense, opening day is like Christmas Day for the NBA. Like there isn't one of those in Major League Baseball, unless it's maybe around the 4th of July. But you don't really think of a date in baseball that you're like, oh, other than opening day. Opening day, why don't they play some of their best games on opening day?
So the way the first week is shaped out, be honest here, Brent. You made a bet.
I did.
Are you feeling pretty confident all of a sudden?
I'm feeling good.
There's a lot of games left. There's a lot of baseball left, but
listen, I understand that. I'm a
you
guy.
Gotta be feeling at least a little confident.
I say I'm a Red Sox guy. You don't talk to me until middle of August. That's when the season starts. I've seen them up 20 games and lose. I've seen them down 20 games and come back. So, talk to me in August. But I might double down on this bet if this trend keeps up. Hey, one more shout out on balling. JU beats Florida State in baseball last night. A big win in 11 innings. We'll be back on ESPN 690 right after this.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Hi, this is Dave Barker, owner and client of IHRS. Do you have thinning or balding hair? Now the same technology doctors have used for years to restore cells and tissue growth can restore your hair, utilizing your own plasma and stem cells. PRP can slow or stop your hair loss and restore your thinning hair. Now the procedure is clinically proven safe and effective with no downtime. Call 904-777-IHRS. IHRS is the leader in hair restoration and offers a trademark procedure, NeoGraft hair transplant, the latest technology in hair restoration, laser treatments, and now PRP. This year, grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for your free evaluation and see the latest technology, PRP, right here in Jacksonville. Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477.
Hey folks, Dave Benyon with Zero Res. The older I get, the faster time flies. Can you believe that Easter is just around the corner? And if you're like me, it's a big time for the 4 most important things in life: faith, family, friends, and food. If you need help getting your carpets and tile looking and feeling fresh and new, call us at Zero Res. Right now, have 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129, and we will clean the 4th room for free. That's right, the 4th room is on me. Zero Res, spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Good morning, class. A quick head count. Tiffany. Here. Zach. Yup. Steven. Is he absent again?
For many kids, just getting to school feels like a challenge. Staying through graduation, even harder. That's where Communities in Schools comes in. We're inside schools every day, empowering at-risk kids by helping them overcome barriers that stand in the way of learning. Communities in Schools. We're in schools to help kids stay in school. See how we help all kids succeed at communitiesinschools.org.
Did you know New York was the first state to require seatbelts, but not until 1984? Without a seatbelt, death can occur in an automobile collision and wrecks as slow as 12 miles per hour. If a collision can bend metal, it can injure people. I'm John Phillips. If injury or trouble finds you, give me a call, 444-4444, or visit floridajustice.com. Offices Jacksonville, Jacksonville Beach.
outside of, I know the answer was it was a business decision, couldn't pass that up, a 1 and a 3 and a player in Jabril Peppers. Is Jabril Peppers that 1 or that 3? Is any of them going to get close to the talent of Odell Beckham Jr.?
Go Lick and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
Hey, this is Dennis Anderson, the driver of Gravedigger, the baddest monster truck in the land. You're listening to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
You guys are so full of excuses, man.
Oh, wow.
Did you just blame...
Talking about our education system.
Did you just blame No Child Left Behind for your lack of smarts?
I 100% did.
Coos did that.
The teacher literally told me at one point, the internet will be able to spell things for you. You don't need to learn how to spell.
Well, they were right.
They were kind of right. I still needed to have a base knowledge of it.
All I'm saying is when it came to, like, we used to have a keyboarding class where you know, obviously you have to type up and...
Yeah, that was a great class.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it was great.
You didn't learn home row?
Yeah, home row, man.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nice shout out. Well, the problem was that I didn't have a computer growing up. So usually how that class worked is you did it in class, you took some of it home, and then you had to finish it up at home. Well, I didn't have a computer to do that. So
that is a child left behind.
Yeah, I got left behind. Like, hey, could you let me borrow one or something? Because I fell behind in my work because I didn't have a computer.
That's funny. So I was in high school 92 to 95. And we had that class.
I was born in 91.
Wow. That's good. I'm not one of those guys that you can make me feel old. I still feel young. I can still run faster than you, Coos.
Ooh. Sounds like a challenge.
Don't worry, I can run faster than you, too.
Oh, Brent, that was a mistake. Please continue the story, though.
All right, take it to the parking lot.
I'm just saying that was a mistake, Brent.
But in high school, so we had the keyboard class. Mrs. Quinn actually taught the class.
Okay.
And home row. But we didn't have to do anything at home. And I'm not sure we even had a computer. I don't think we did at that time had one at home. I don't believe so. But it was one of those that you stayed in class.
Yeah.
You know, but by the time you went to high school or when you took that class, I bet there was a lot more prevalent that people had computers.
Of course. I'm surprised you actually had computers. I figured you'd have typewriters, but...
Oh, no. We've done the typewriter thing. We had that.
Yeah. Oh, you had typewriters, too?
Oh, yeah. I typed on a typewriter.
Brent is old, then. See?
It is amazing. Like, I am not old. Like, I'm not that old. But it's amazing to think.
Reassuring.
It's amazing to think how much stuff has changed even since I've been in high school. Because I do have experience with a typewriter. The old floppy disks.
Yeah.
With the
Oregon Trail. What's up?
I mean, I used to play this game called Taxman. It was awesome. It was like a knockoff of Pac-Man.
Okay.
But we'd play it on those Apple II computers, like the original Apple II computers. Of course. And it was awesome. Like, I was addicted to the game.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I love Pac-Man. I'm still a big Miss Pac-Man fan. I'll beat you in that, too, by the way, too.
Miss Pac-Man possibly, but the original, I got you all day. I think. I don't know. I haven't played it in a long time.
Faster it goes, the better I get. Although my eyes are probably going a little more now, so we'll have to see. Maybe my reflexes are too.
But I feel like you have an advantage with Pac-Man because you read a teleprompter. You have to have like fast eyes and like reflexes, right?
Wow, here come the excuses.
Well, we haven't played yet. So we haven't played yet and we haven't raced yet.
I figured a game for Coos. Do we just give him a spelling test?
Oh, no. It will be a disaster. Like, you have no idea.
We'll give him a spelling test. We'll turn off our microphones and just let the spelling do all the work, and we'll be the highest rated radio station
I'm already
ever.
stressed out about that.
But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring in like the local spelling bee winner too.
Oh, they would. It would
First
not even be
grader.
a competition.
First grader,
That first grader would whoop me, no doubt.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to make this happen now,
I think
Brent.
this is going to happen.
Oh, man.
You know, Koo's going to like try to study now. And like, there's too many words, Koos. You can't study enough,
just
man.
Just start reading the dictionary on the beach.
You're screwed, sir.
I told you this before. I was in the citywide spelling bee.
Really?
Yeah, as a kid. Twice.
How'd you finish?
Not so great. I was like middle of the pack. But one year I forget the one year I got out on, but the word I know I got out on the second year or second time I was in it, heinous.
Heinous?
Yeah. I messed it up. I have no idea how I even spelled it, but I just wasn't even close.
That's a rough one.
Spell heinous.
No.
I don't think I can spell it. Hainess?
No.
Not even close, huh?
I have no idea.
Come on, give it a chance. Now I better look it up.
Yeah, I don't even.
I'm going to spell it and then I'll look it up because I think I never forgot how to spell this one.
Yeah, Hainus.
Not even
Yeah, you guys aren't even close. H-E-I-N.
E-I-N.
O-U-S, I believe. But let me check.
Oh, yeah.
Let me double check.
Hainus. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, I got it. I didn't think I would ever forget that.
Well, I mean,
I got beat by someone.
To be fair, I haven't seen that word, I don't know, since I was like 8.
Oh, you should have
Dude,
imagined.
that was in the 3rd grade citywide
Heinous?
spelling bee. Heinous.
Dude, you should have seen. I started sweating when we moved our last address. The word was rendezvous. I was like, oh, I have to put this on my address for everything.
When was this?
Back at my old address.
Oh, I gotcha.
So the street name was?
The street name was like Rendezvous Lane.
That's what
I was like, I looked at it. I was just like, oh no.
It was like cousin and John. So what's your street address? Can you spell it?
So now,
no.
be honest. Did you have to move because the FBI was on your tail, or what was the case there?
Yeah, we
Why'd
had to
you
move. We were being followed.
I figured. Yep. Makes sense.
Hey, Kuz, you had a better outlet. If you could have 20 points, 21 assists, and 20 rebounds, you probably don't have to worry about spelling.
Mm-hmm. But
yeah.
But I'm not going to be able to do that either.
Yeah, you can't do that either. Russell Westbrook, what a night. What do you think about the night? He first guy since Wilt Chamberlain to do it, only other guy since Wilt Chamberlain to do it, 1968. I'm going to give you my take on. Did you see it?
No.
Okay.
I didn't see it live.
Did you see it?
I caught like a few minutes of it, but I didn't know it was happening. Like I just was flipping around.
Well, yeah. So I was checking out Twitter and I saw with I ended up clicking on the box score because it happened to be with about 2 minutes to go, 2.5 minutes to go. He was 1 assist shy and 3 rebounds shy. Well, he got the assist, so now he's just 3 rebounds shy with about 2:02 left. And I'm like, all right. There's not one guy on Oklahoma City right now that's going to rebound.
Of course.
And so I don't really even know if that's the way it transpired because I didn't see the game. I was watching the box score, and then, bam, he got 18. And then with like 50 seconds, he had 19. And then he got it. He had to, that's a time where you could run out the clock almost. You almost don't even need shots. And I don't know how it manifested itself. But at the same time, I'm not going to say it's cheap for that. I think when you're that close to something like that, heck yeah, try to go get it. And 2020 is still pretty darn impressive.
It's very impressive. They're playing the Lakers, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So is it really that impressive? But listen, and a part of me wants to say, well, it's not that impressive because it's towards the end of the NBA season. It's the LA Lakers. They're not really playing for anything. I'm sure they're playing a lot more younger guys. So is it really that impressive? But at the same time, I mean, it wasn't like 10, 10, and 10. This is 20, 20, and 20. Second time it's been done since Wilt Chamberlain was the last guy to do it. So, yeah, I'm obviously impressed with it. I thought it was kind of cool that he dedicated the game to Nipsey Hussle, who recently lost his life in a violent shooting. So I thought that was cool. Kuz, you impressed by it? Because you weren't impressed with John Morant's when he had like 10, 12, and 13 or whatever it was.
I was actually going to bring that up on you. I was like, oh, this one doesn't impress you, but that one did.
Yeah. So are you impressed with this?
Yeah, this is awesome. I mean, and it's one of those things like people will, and there's a narrative that they always say Westbrook and the Thunder in general try to stat pad for Westbrook, and they'll get Steven Adams to box out everybody, and Westbrook jumps in for the rebound. But he still was able to do 20, 20, and 20. And that's not easy to do. That's obviously the 20 assists in general. That's teamwork. Dropping 20 points is pretty average for Westbrook in general. But then, to have 20 assists and 20 rebounds with it as well is huge.
And I saw that Billy Dunn was trying to pull him out of the game, and Westbrook was like, no, I'm staying in. So obviously it meant a lot to him. I mean, there you go again. But
yeah.
I'll never forget, there was a guy by the name of Ricky Davis.
That's just the way it is, though.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. Like, we talked about it yesterday. I mean, you got Harden and Greek Freak. They know down the stretch of this season that just as important as positioning or getting another win or momentum is they're trying to win an MVP. And it's a weird deal in – I do think, again, it translates a little bit to baseball because if you're in the mix on a batting champ, I mean, the stories are obviously well known about Ted Williams. So, he could have sat out and hit over 400. Instead, he ends up going whatever and hits 406. But I do think you're cognizant of it. And you want to play, or if you're chasing, you want to go get it. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen in any other sport. Football, there are milestones. Obviously, Drew Brees was well aware of his milestone that he was about to reach. But I just feel like the NBA somewhat at times fabricates, manipulates some of these numbers because they can. I mean, you really can control some of them. Rebounds a little bit harder to control. Assists even not that easy because the guy's going to make a shot for you. But you can control some of the stuff, how much you want the ball in your hands, how many shots you're going to take off. And that's weird to me. It's these are team games, yet there's an individualized aspect of it in the NBA that I think exists maybe even more than any other sport.
I'll never forget, Kuz, do you remember a player by the name of Ricky Davis from the Cleveland Cavaliers? I think he played.
I remember Ricky Davis,
played for the Celtics too, if I'm not mistaken, right? I was at a Bucks game once where he was 1 rebound away from a triple-double. I'm sorry, he was two away from triple-double with like literally a minute left. Milwaukee misses the shot. He goes up for the rebound, gets it, and then he proceeds to go off the backboard again, like he threw the ball up off the backboard, and then try to catch it again for an extra rebound. And that didn't please a lot of people on the Milwaukee Bucks.
No, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it reminds you of the Strahan, Brett Favre.
Yeah. I mean, do you know that whole thing where Favre gave it to him?
Yeah, he gave it to him. And so, listen, sometimes I think there's two ways to look at it. Sometimes it's a tip of the cap. I don't think there was any while there's some premeditation and calculation to this stuff, like in Brett Favre's case, he was like, hey, man, you've had a monster year, tip of the cap type of thing. That's the way I kind of felt like it. It's not like, hey, I love you, man. I hope you have the title. Does Brett Favre really care if you have the title? No. But I just think he never thought of it after that. I thought he was almost doing this gesture of like, well, all right, if I'm going to get sacked or almost get sacked, I'm just going to give one to you. And there it is. And it doesn't feel right, from the outside looking in.
Well, and it bothers me because you have a player like Aaron Donald, who's literally a game wrecker and a game changer, doing it from the 3 technique. Like back in the day, there was Reggie White who played the 3 technique as well, and he was a game changer. But like Donald could break the record, but thanks to Strahan, getting that freebie, you just never know now.
Yeah, but that being said, this, in the course of a season, if you're getting 20 sacks, there was probably a freebie along the way. There was a guy that slipped and you got credited for it. Or sometimes you even get credited for it and it's not really yours. You know what I mean? So I think in the landscape, you kind of realize that. It's a little less controllable. That one was controlled, it seemed like, with Strahan and Favre. But I don't know, basketball just feels like you can. Like, there was no doubt in my mind with 2 minutes to go that he was getting 20 rebounds.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agreed.
And to grab 3 rebounds in 2 minutes is not necessarily an easy thing.
Well, I guess if the LA Lakers are shooting it is, but
yeah, true. And LeBron didn't play that day. By the way, we love numbers. We're infatuated with numbers. I like numbers. I'm not going to lie. So 2020 will live for a long, long time in basketball lore. And Russell Westbrook has his name right there for sure. And but that solidifies he'll have a triple-double this year, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I mean, it's got it. There's only a few games left. How will the NBA shake out, Coos? Drive and Dish podcast, a little segment for it right next on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
Happy Hump Day. I'm Jake Mitchell. After only 8 weeks into its first season, the Alliance of American Football has suspended football operations due to a lack of funding. Here's co-founder Bill Polian with more.
The word suspension is, you don't have to speak to the lawyers about that. I don't know what that means. There are no football employees left. So if it's going to reconstitute, it's going to have to reconstitute from scratch. That much I know.
And the Jags have signed another running back in a very busy backfield. This time it's Benny Cunningham, the former Ram ball carrier. The terms of the deal were not disclosed. And in the NBA last night, a milestone not reached since the days of Wilt the Stilt. Russell Westbrook stuffed the stat sheet with 20 points, 20 rebounds, and 20 assists. After the game, dedicated his performance to slain rapper Nipsey Hussle. Don't forget to stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, presented by Community First, opens tomorrow. Don't miss opening day, presented by Firehouse Subs and Rimrock Devlin, with free magnet schedules courtesy of Crawford Electric, and post-game fireworks. Then it's Napa Auto Care Family Fireworks on Red Shirt Friday. Baseball all weekend. Tickets start at $5. Call 358-2846 or jackshrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
Hi, this is Dave Barker, owner and client of IHRS. Do you have thinning or balding hair? Now, the same technology doctors have used for years to restore cells and tissue growth can restore your hair, utilizing your own plasma and stem cells. PRP can slow or stop your hair loss and restore your thinning hair. Now, the procedure is clinically proven safe and effective with no downtime. Call 904-777-IHRS. IHRS is the leader in hair restoration and offers a trademark procedure, NeoGraft hair transplant, the latest technology in hair restoration, laser treatments, and now PRP. This year, grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for your free evaluation and see the latest technology, PRP, right here in Jacksonville. Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477.
When you're hungry in Jacksonville, you can always count on Cars. Cars trail mixes are made with nothing fancy, just delicious, like good old roasted peanuts, naturally sweet raisins, and little chocolate gems. And when it comes to curing your cravings, Cars trail mix is something you can always count on, like the summer afternoon thunderstorm. So whether you're in the mood for a snack that's sweet and salty or sweet and spicy, reach for a bag of Cars trail mix. It's the cure your cravings can count on. Available at Publix.
Now through April 14th, Wawa and the Wawa Foundation are hosting an in-store coin donation campaign for American Red Cross local disaster relief efforts. Visit your local Wawa and donate today. Wawa and the Wawa Foundation are partnering with the American Red Cross to help those affected by local disasters. Through April 14th, we invite you to make a donation at any Wawa store and help support others in your community when they need it the most.
It's time for another shout out to all the North Florida poker fans. This is Allie from both Best Bet Poker Room, Jacksonville and Orange Park. The Card Player Poker Tour is on the rise, and you've just entered the Satellite Frenzy Zone. Get out to Jacksonville to participate in a 10-seat mega satellite every week throughout the month of April. Lock up your seat into the $200,000 guaranteed main event for just $250. For more detailed information, visit them on the web at bestbetjacks.com. Until next time, this is Allie saying I hope to see you at the final table.
From Daytona Beach to Brunswick, now ESPN can be heard loud and clear everywhere on one of the most powerful AM radio stations in Florida. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Yeah, it is Wednesday here on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos. What's the Magic Whiteboard say today? I missed a couple of them.
Welcome back, Titus Andronicus. Titus Andronicus are a punk band, one of my top 5 bands of all time. So now you have 2 bands that are in my top 5, Brent. As
really?
We talked about Pink Floyd and now Titus Andronicus.
Oh, that one would have taken a while for me to guess.
For sure. They're not that popular, but I'm a huge fan of them.
That's pretty good. Don't you like that when you like it and nobody else does? Well, not nobody, but
no,
I mean,
it's
few people do.
It is kind of refreshing to tell you the truth.
Hipster.
Yep. They're from. I wouldn't call it that, Coos, but all right. It is hipster. Yeah, I know you're absolutely right.
Just that's like the mindset of a hipster, right?
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, say one day they get famous, I'll be like, "Wow, I was listening to them before anybody knew who they was." That's the definition of a hipster, Coos, and I hate that you brought that up because now I'm questioning my own music tastes.
As you should.
Yes.
Maybe not. Hey, by the way, the Phillies have come back. They might stay undefeated. They're 8-7 lead now over the Nationals. They got a little magic going early in the season. I mean, it's such a long season that doesn't really melt. Now it's 8-8. So hold on that magic.
I tried to put the game on in here, but we don't have the channel. So
really? Yeah. Well, you have a TV in there? That's nice.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
What is that like?
I mean, I wonder what a TV looks like.
It's pretty nice, you know. Every once in a while, whenever I forget to do something, it's because something's happening on the TV usually.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
amazing.
you should talk about sports on the radio.
Yeah, I was going to say for 3 hours
buttons.
talking sports and not need a TV.
Yeah, you know.
I guess that's just part of it.
It's all good.
It's all right.
I could have watched the Brewers today, but it's all good. No worries.
We don't need it.
No, we're good.
We've made it this far.
I guess we have.
ESPN 690 somehow making it work.
Yep. Well, let's be honest.
ESPN 690 by day, kick ass at night.
Yep, that's all I had to say.
That's about what you were going to say.
That's what I was going to say. Yes, exactly. We're just trying to make this work, man.
Bryce Harper, by the way, is hitting 500 now. He's 2 for 2 today with 3 more walks. I mean, what a week! What a couple of days in Washington.
Yep.
He's had. All right, Kuz, I'm putting it out there right now on the social media front. We'll see if we get anyone to bite. Who will be the surprise team in the NBA playoffs? And by the way, we're the Magic are a half game behind the Heat. And 4 games to go.
So if I were to pick a team that would be the surprise, I guess my question, are you asking surprise to get in the playoffs?
No. I mean, you can figure out who you want to be in. I mean, listen, the 8th, my guess is your 8th seed is not going to be the surprise pick.
No,
you kind of know who's going to be in the playoffs. There's 4 games left. So
the Heat, Nets, or Magic are not going to beat the Bucks in the first round, in my opinion.
Okay, so give it your surprise team in each conference.
In each conference, I think the Celtics, only because they've lived not up to the hype this year. And I think everyone's sleeping on them a little bit and kind of writing them off early. But, once playoff time hits, it'll kind of turn around. If I were to pick I guess, could you say the Rockets will be a surprise? Because they're 3rd seed.
Yeah, but after last year, how close they were, I feel like they're not going to sneak up on anybody.
Surprise.
Same thing, I mean, with Boston, too, it's tricky because I get what Kuz is saying where they have underachieved all season.
But they're a 4th seed.
Yeah, but you have to remember when the season started, it was the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Gordon Hayward's coming back. They have all their pieces in place. Kyrie Irving, they have a good coach and everything. So from that perspective, I'm not sure if I call them a surprise just because they were supposed to be. Well, they're supposed to be better than what they were right now. So
I think you could probably throw the Thunder potentially in that list. But here's the problem: the Thunder, if they stay in the 8th seed, and looking at strength of schedule, they do have a top 5, one of the hardest schedules for the remaining season. So I don't know how much they can jump around there, but they have to go up against the Warriors and or the Nuggets in the first round. So I don't know. Could they surprise someone? Maybe. But they have to go up against 2 really good teams right off the bat.
Oh, by the way, the Celtics certainly fit the surprise. I mean, Celtics seem like they're a mess. I mean, they're winning, they're going to finish in the top 4, but they're still like a mess of a team all year long. I think they certainly would fit surprise. In fact, I don't think you necessarily have to say, hey, give me an underdog surprise team. I think you could say the Toronto Raptors in this sense. The Raptors have a good team. They've been the dance before and disappointed like crazy, but they got LeBron out of the way at least in the East. Could they be the team that comes out of the East? And I think if you say that to many people, I think that would be a surprise. I think right now people would probably pick the Sixers, probably pick the Bucks, probably even pick the Celtics before they would pick Toronto, just because it's Toronto, and they've been very disappointing in the postseason.
There's also a lot of underlying meaning for the Raptors right now. I think they need to make the conference finals or the finals to prove to Kawhi to come back. Because if they flame out, then I guarantee you he's leaving to go to LA, to go somewhere else and not stay in Toronto.
They had a strange coaching change at the end of last year.
Yeah. I mean, he was coach of the year.
I know.
And he got fired.
And he's with the Pistons right now, so he'll be back in the playoffs.
But has it worked? Or do we have to wait until the postseason?
I think we got to wait to the postseason to see, because
they haven't missed a beat. I mean, they've been the 1 or 2 seed the last couple of years.
Yeah, so I think you can't really assess that. I mean, I guess you could really get deep into the rotations and how players are being played in game situations, but I think the real test will be once you get to the playoffs, and if you can get past that kind of curse that the Raptors kind of have right now.
Kuz, let me ask you this question from the Western Conference. Like, one could say the Thunder are kind of struggling. I think they're the 8th seed right now in the Western Conference, but they're not really a surprise to anybody. I mean, you got Russell Westbrook, you got PG. I mean, like, they're going to be okay, I feel like. Do you think the Spurs are kind of a surprise, not for the fact that, listen, they lost their best player this past season. DeRozan's kind of stepped up a little bit, so they have a player with him. But, I mean, you look at that team, and obviously they have one of the best minds in the NBA, and Popovich. Do you see them actually surprising some people and winning the first round game?
So maybe
they're a 7th seed right now.
The way I felt about the Spurs all year is that the Spurs last year were able to make the playoffs and be fairly decent, and Kawhi sat the whole season. Like, he didn't play. I think maybe you could say he played a few minutes, but he didn't play.
Yeah.
and then they traded him, but they got DeRozan. So in a way, from last year, they had an upgraded player coming in with him. You got Rudy Gay, you got Aldridge down low, but they did lose their point guard Murray. So I guess you could say it could be a surprise, but again, like for my problem with this is it all depends on who they're going to go up against. If they have to go up against the Nuggets and they have to go up against the Warriors, or they're not making it past the first round, in my opinion.
Yeah, and listen, I think in the West, you basically can say anybody but the Rockets or Warriors, and it's a surprise.
Yeah,
and I think probably even anybody but the Warriors. But I hate to put the Rockets in that sense because they were right there. They've knocked on the door. But I think the Nuggets, even in the 2-hole, would be a surprise. To that end, who do the Warriors not want to see in the postseason?
Probably the Rockets.
Think so?
I think so. The Rockets have their number all season. They look at the Nuggets and they go, we've beaten you by a lot, and we just beat you last night by a lot and had no problem doing it.
Do you think they'll, because of Popovich, does he have that much clout that they would be a little bit iffy about even the Spurs? I know they dominate them on the talent side, but
I don't think the Warriors are worried about anybody. I don't even think they're necessarily worried about the Rockets, but the team that poses a threat, because they proved it last year, is the Rockets.
Does this have a chance if the Warriors breeze through everything to really hurt basketball and kind of be like, I'm not interested?
You want them to know, because the Eastern Conference is going to be an absolute bloodbath. I think that's going to be where the money is made in a way.
Yeah.
But I think the East is going to be so much fun to watch from game one up until the finals, and maybe even in the finals, whoever ends up going against the Rockets or Warriors. I just think what would be bad is if the Warriors breeze through and don't ever have more than a 4-game series, and then they just sit around for 2 weeks and wait for the Eastern Conference to wear each other out, and then, say it's Giannis, say it's the Sixers, say it's the Raptors or Celtics get there, and they've had to go through, however many 7-game series. They're tired, and then it's just going to be a wrap.
Yeah, it's a wrap for this segment. More NBA talk over the next few months while the playoffs play out. Again, the longest playoffs in the history of playoffs. When we come back, I bet you do. They really should just... There's
maybe
a lot
5
of sports.
games.
No, there's a lot of sports. I don't mind the 7-game series. What they should do in a lot of these sports is limit the games. They should just stop playing 82. I get it, the home dates, all this stuff. But the NBA basketball... NBA... Now, look, we've got a couple coming down to the wire, but you'd still have them coming down to the wire if it was 62 games.
Yeah.
But the playoffs are so long, and I'm not saying they're not entertaining, but 82 games plus 4 months of playoffs? 3 months of playoffs legitimately, but feels like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, too much. Hey, a former teammate says something about Nick Foles. What do you have to say? A little football talk next on ESPN 690.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Is an unhappy Thon Maker the answer? 53% of the audience said yes.
Thon Maker is going to excite anybody who hasn't seen Thon Maker play, correct? Like, that guy walks into the room.
How'd we get him?
Yeah, that guy's great. I would draft him first overall every time.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stuttgarts on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Hi, this is Dave Barker, owner and client of IHRS. Do you have thinning or balding hair? Now the same technology doctors have used for years to restore cells and tissue growth can restore your hair, utilizing your own plasma and stem cells. PRP can slow or stop your hair loss and restore your thinning hair. Now the procedure is clinically proven safe and effective with no downtime. Call 904-777-IHRS. IHRS is the leader in hair restoration and offers a trademark procedure, NeoGraft hair transplant, the latest technology in hair restoration, laser treatments, and now PRP. This year, grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for your free evaluation and see the latest technology, PRP, right here in Jacksonville. Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and cannot pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank accounts and garnish your wages. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Recently voted the best tax attorney in Jacksonville by Folio Weekly readers and selected as an ultimate tax attorney by the Jacksonville Business Journal. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they'll resolve your tax issue. Only trust an experienced and award-winning tax firm to represent you. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away, also online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. Only trust an experienced and award-winning tax firm to represent you by calling this number again, 904-507-4777, or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Making the playoffs in the NBA is like getting a participation trophy. It's just like in the NFL. Why celebrate division titles? Why,
Listen, I have zero problem with people celebrating once they get.
I have no problem with people celebrating.
It's all about stepping stones.
Go Lick and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, this middle school golf stuff is really tough. It goes off at about 3:15, and so I have to kind of keep score from my wife. And apparently earlier, little guy Ty had a 4-putt. Not very good. And he just made a par putt, so that's good. What do you got on the whiteboard? I need like live streaming from St. John's Golf and Country Club right now on Ty's golf match.
Trees are just a slow-mo explosion of a seed. Think about it.
Yes.
I mean, makes sense though, right? You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, I understand.
Okay.
I think it does make sense.
Okay.
Except that the only part to me that doesn't make a lot of sense, like when things explode, they don't necessarily grow.
Well, I think that's like what they're saying, though, is the fact that it comes from a seed and then it's like a mushroom cloud. Where
I understand.
Yeah, okay, I get it. The fact that I'm trying to explain this to you is ridiculous.
Hey, listen, man, when you want to go scuba diving, I jump in.
You are, man. You're all in. Coos, you keep coming in. The water's fine, man. Come on in. Let's get deep.
I'll pass. I'll let you guys handle this one.
Fair enough.
When's it okay to go like swimming? Speaking of, like, when's the water get?
I thought you meant like after you eat a meal or something.
No. Like, is the water? It seems like the water.
I was in the ocean
chilly.
this weekend.
You did? You went in?
It was not enjoyable, but I was in.
Yeah, I would think like it does not feel like to me it's been warm these first few months of the year. I know we had one hot week. Like Players Championship week was beautiful. Like today's beautiful, but it's not hot.
Yeah.
Like it's not steamy at all. It really hasn't been, I think, so far. So I'm wondering about the water temp. Not that I go in the ocean, and I know you don't.
Yeah,
so.
I don't. Speaking of water temperatures, though, got a question for you, gentlemen. Do you guys in Rhode Island and in Philly, do you guys have polar bear plunges?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever done it?
No.
Oh,
and by the way, polar bear plunge in Florida. Come on.
Well, I hear, that's ridiculous. Like, let's get serious.
My brother did it this year.
This year, huh?
Oh, it was so funny. He took a before and after photo. The before photo, he just looks normal. The after photo, his body was like so pink. You could tell he was so cold.
Like I say that, it is still. I wouldn't be fun. Like, I don't
sucks.
want to do it,
I've done
even
it
in
once,
Florida.
yeah.
But it is totally different animal now. It's a totally different polar bear.
No, for sure. Like,
Up north.
When I did it in Wisconsin, it was like -3 on New Year's.
So you've done it?
Yeah, so we do it for New Year's every year. I don't do it every year, but I did it one year in high school for New Year's Day, and it was like -3 with the wind chill and whatnot. So it was crazy.
Is it like getting in the cold tub?
Not even close, because with this, like literally shocks. I thought I was gonna die, honestly. Like, because what you do is, it's like
sounds fun.
It's at a boat ramp, so you run down like the boat ramp, and then you just kind of dive in, and then you have to get back up. Well, it's on an incline, so like I jumped in. I'm like, oh, this sucks, and then I'm trying to like get back up, but like my legs aren't working.
Yeah.
You know, and granted, I was wearing shoes and whatnot, but still, like my legs started to kind of slow down.
At least with the beach, it's just like turn around and run out.
And it sucks because like there's people running at you too. It's like you have to like dodge the people that are coming in the lake. It was a mess.
Do people die doing that because their body goes into shock?
So they have like scuba divers and like policemen like on watch, so that doesn't happen. But I'm sure it's happened before. Yeah,
because you go in like just the shock of the cold.
Well, it takes your breath away too.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you can't breathe.
Absolutely. All right, I'm on a mission to find somebody to say something bad about Nick Foles.
Okay.
Not that I want to hear it. I'm just saying everybody's saying good things about Nick Foles. And, well, I'm not sure we found it. but Chris Long played with Nick Foles in Philadelphia. Of course, won a Super Bowl that year with Foles in Philadelphia. Here's his thoughts on the QB situation with the Eagles, which also includes Foles.
I'm happy for Nick getting an opportunity to be, franchise quarterback. I think he's earned that. I think so few times in pro football do you see a situation like the one that transpired over the last year and a half in Philly. Two guys who led their team to tremendous success on one roster, and two guys that are franchise quarterbacks. One obviously being, the franchise quarterback, and that's Carson, who has an extremely bright future in the league. And there's no reason to think anything other than Carson being the future in Philly. And I think Nick understood that through and through, led us on a historic run, and I wish him the best in Jacksonville. He's one of the best teammates I've ever had, and a tremendous person. And I think more than anything what he brings on the field is going to be great, but what he brings in the locker room and as a man is going to be huge down in Jacksonville.
Well, there we go again. I mean, you keep hearing it in the locker room, in the building, what he's going to bring. It's a common theme with Nick Foles. And, Chris Long's a respected guy. Chris Long, with his family, has been around the NFL for a long, long time. Chris Long just said, one of the best teammates I've ever had. And listen, you played with a lot of guys, and I think you'd probably say, hey, that was a great teammate, great teammate, great teammate. It probably gets old after a while to say, hey, there are a lot of great teammates. But we continue to hear this about Foles. Now, it's a little different to me because if we had somebody talking about Aaron Rodgers, like Jake Ryan did, if we have someone talking about Patrick Mahomes, right? Like even we had Dwayne Bowe on, just from the outside talking about him. Now, people are going to rave about their skill set, right? People are going to be like, wow, man, he can chuck it. He can throw it. He's blah, blah. That's what gets people excited.
Yeah.
Saying to a guy, he's a great teammate, great locker room guy, well, it really doesn't get the population buzzing like, oh, I can't wait to watch that on Sundays.
Can't wait to see that chemistry come into play.
Yeah. So it's an interesting deal, but at the very same time, this locker room appears to have needed that. So Nick Foles could be arriving at a perfect time. Like I always say, Calais Campbell arrived at a great time. They needed somebody like that. They were starving for someone like that. Well, at the QB position, I think it's safe to say the organization might be starving for that kind of presence in the locker room from that position. I'm not saying there isn't another guy and hasn't been. I mean, we talk about Paul Posluszny, we talk about Calais Campbell, we talk about Mercedes Lewis. I think there have been guys in that locker room, but not from that position that you hold with the respect that Chris Long just talked about and a lot of other people talk about. So, I mean, I'm still trying to filter through, okay, what does this all mean? What does this mean about Nick Foles? I believe chemistry is important. I believe being a leader is important. I believe being a good teammate is important. I don't necessarily believe that gets you to the promised land all the time because I've seen it here in Jacksonville. I think there are several examples. But this one does have a different feel because it's a common theme that you continue to hear, and it's because of that position.
Here's what I think about it. When you're talking about guys that have great leadership, like Chris just mentioned with Nick Foles, it's not a mistake because I think there's a direct correlation of being a great guy in the locker room and also being a great player on the field. The guys that I played with, Puz is a great example. Puz was a great leader, obviously, but guess what? He's probably one of the best middle linebackers at that time that I played with. Calais Campbell, another prime example, a great leader, but guess what? One of the best defensive tackles in the league. The same can be said even in Detroit when I played there. Like, yes, Stafford was the quarterback and Stafford was the captain, but a lot of guys would say that was Calvin Johnson's team just because of what he could do on the field. Okay, like Calvin Johnson, from a leadership standpoint, was one of the guys on the team that was a giant leader. Even to the point where when I first got there, he was the first guy to come up to me and be like, "Hey, if you need any help in Detroit, I got your back." Like he offered me his cleats. He's like, "If you're size 15, I can get you some shoes if you need them." I'm like, "No, dude, I'm all good. I'm just here for a little bit."
Autograph
well, I should have. I don't know. Looking back on it now, I'm trying to make a good first impression. But my point is that there's a direct correlation between talent and leadership. Now with the Jaguars, Jalen Ramsey, Miles Jack, those guys are talented players, but they're young, and I don't see them being leaders quite yet. So if you bring in Foles, who is a good leader and can perform on the field, that's a winning combination.
How much more can Foles impact? Can he impact the draft at all? And what happens these next couple of months? Next on ESPN 690.
I love Nick Foles.
Oye, amigo, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Did James Harrison ever tell Ben Roethlisberger to put down the beers and get in a little better shape? Please say yes.
Ben's in good shape.
He is?
Ben looks good.
If you say he looks good, he looks good. That's the
fine.
deal.
We think he runs like a skyscraper, but if you say he looks good, that's fine by us. We'll let it go.
That's a good thing he ain't paid to run. He paid to throw.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stuttgarts on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Corbin and his adopted brother Kai both rely on blood transfusions to survive. Give the gift of life at the Action News Jack's Family Focus Spring Into Action Blood Drive. Happening now through Saturday at locations across town. Everyone will get a One Blood bag and $10 Publix gift card. Other prizes include jumbo shrimp tickets, a free oil change, and more. Book your appointment ahead of time and be entered to win VIP Welcome to Rockville tickets. Go to actionnewsjacks.com/familyfocus to find a big red bus near you.
Lowe's knows you're the pro who does it right to find more ways to save because your business depends on it. We do it right too, with savings every day, plus even more deals during our Spring Black Friday sale. Get $40 off 5-gallon buckets of select paint and stains via Lowe's gift card rebate. Buy 3 or more Purdy brushes and get 15% instant savings. And get up to 35% off select appliance special values. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Paint and stain offer valid through 4/10. Purdy and appliance offers valid through 4/17. Exclusions apply. See store for details. US only.
Guardians of the Grass, run with us on a John Deere X300 Select Series lawn tractor built for versatility. Because when you take pride in your lawn, you do it all. You mulch, bag, haul, grow, mow, and a whole lot more. And that's why the X300 Series takes care of everything with attachments for all your spring and summer projects. Because you're not just doing yard work, you're creating common ground for the whole neighborhood to enjoy. Nothing runs like a Deere. Run with us. Search John Deere X300 for more.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Murray State sophomore guard Ja Morant will enter the NBA draft. He'll make it official later today. The Racers lost to Florida State in the second round of the NCAA tournament. North Carolina guard Kobe White will also enter the draft. After 5 years at Virginia Tech and 3 trips to the NCAA tournament, Buzz Williams will be the new head coach at Texas A&M. ESPN's Jeff Borzello reports UCLA is talking with TCU coach Jamie Dixon about possibly taking over the Bruins. Dixon has coached the Horned Frogs for the last 3 years. At the Final Four in Minneapolis this weekend, only one of the 4 schools has actually won it all before. Michigan State has 2 titles. Head coach Tom Izzo on his point guard, Cassius Winston.
I started recruiting him. I said he could be the best passer, the best guy to read defensive since Magic in this state. And sure enough, he's turning out to be that.
The Spartans will meet Texas Tech in the semifinals on Saturday. Virginia plays Auburn in the first semifinal. Baseball, the Rockies beat the Rays 1-0 in 11.
The Pizzone from Pizza Hut. It's meaty, cheesy, and you know it's big. The Pepperoni Pizzone is back and part of the $5 lineup. 2 or more, just $5 each. No one outpizzas the Hut. Ask or click for offer. Product availability, prices, participation, and delivery areas and minimums vary. Delivery charge is not a driver tip.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, by the way, the Ashland University Eagles are 22-3 on the baseball field. That's best winning percentage in Division II baseball. Just want to let you know.
Look it up.
Absolutely, look it up. Also, how about this? So I'm keeping tabs of the golf match going on. And Steph, my wife, sends a drive on the 4th hole at St. John's Golf and Country Club. It's a short par 4. And we hit it well, but it looks like it goes in the water. So she says in the water. She can be a little negative Nelly sometimes.
I feel like she's calling like she sees it.
Well, she probably it looked like it went in the water. So anyway, I said, too much club. She said, actually drove it really far, but it stayed out of the water. couldn't stand to hit the next shot because he would have been in the water. So he punched it out to the fairway backwards, basically then pitched it up and almost made the putt for 4. So he got a 5, a little crafty bogey.
You have to help me understand this. Can parents actually go watch the golf rounds?
Yeah.
I feel is that common?
Yeah, I think so.
I think in Wisconsin you can't do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Nah, I think it's pretty common.
Okay, gotcha.
Heck, I'd like to go see it.
That's a little added pressure for the youngsters out there.
In fact, what I would like to do is one of these golf matches is we just take the show on the road and we drive around in a cart because we obviously can't stay in one place.
Yep.
All right, Ty, now it's on the 4th hole.
Yeah.
St. John's Golf and Country. That wouldn't put any pressure on him.
Oh, don't worry. And I'll be the guy talking smack to the other kids as well, just to make sure Ty wins.
I feel like we wouldn't be allowed to do happy hour horn.
Yeah, probably not.
You'd be surprised.
You know what we do is we have like the lightning horn sound instead at the golf course. That would be good. But anyway, I'm getting the play-by-play. Like, see, in baseball and softball, they have this thing called Game Changer. And so you can – it's basically like if you watch Gamecast on ESPN.
Yeah.
So, if you can't see the game, you can watch every pitch.
For, like, middle school baseball?
Forever. It depends on the team. Like, if the team has to keep it, like a mom or dad has to keep it.
Obviously.
So there's always a little sketchy, too, when mom and dad's keeping it because they don't know what the heck's going on.
Having a couple drinks every once in a while.
My kid got that's a hit.
Yeah.
It's one of those. And it happens. So you can't really always but that's not the point. You can follow along, though.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
That is cool.
So, like, Kaylee plays middle school games. They do it Tuesday and Thursday during the show. I can follow along.
Dang.
But this is different.
Yeah.
I got to get the play-by-play from my wife, and hopefully in golf, she knows what she's talking about.
Are we going to eventually do a game from a softball? Like the show from a softball game or one of your
I don't
Ty's
know.
baseball games?
I don't know. Probably not now. Like maybe down the road.
All right.
They got to get
I think it'd
high
be
school.
Fun. Okay.
It would probably be fun, but I don't think so. Like if we get if we're still rocking and rolling, it's like a national show. By the time they get to high school and they're playing probably varsity, then we'll take the show on the road, and we might take it on the road every game.
Fair enough.
I just have to do it.
I'm cool with that, man.
I ain't missing.
Yeah, I
gotta
don't
watch
blame
him play
you.
high school ball.
Of course, man. That's an important time as a father.
Yeah. We were talking Nick Foles before the timeout and just about Chris Long, and he said the leadership and all this good stuff about Foles once again. And then we also were talking about how about the news today that RG3 said the Jags tried to trade for him a couple of different times in the 2018 season. He told Baltimore, is it the website?
It was a podcast.
Oh, podcast.
And this was from CBSSports.com reported this from what I saw it. Basically what he says back in 2018 that the Jaguars tried to reach out to him once in the preseason and then once towards the middle of the season to trade for RG3.
Well,
interesting.
Would you have liked that?
What was the first thing that I said?
You said if not that, then why wouldn't you try? If you're looking at doing that, why wouldn't you try Kaepernick?
Exactly.
You think at this stage of the game, Kaepernick's a better player than RG3?
Absolutely not. I think RG3 is better for the fact that he's got experience still. Like he's still in the league. But when I see their skill sets and I see what kind of quarterbacks they are, I don't think they're that far apart.
Okay. I'm actually stunned that the Jags would have been interested in RG3.
Yeah.
RG3 to me is like, he doesn't seem to have much left. I mean, by now, he was a third string quarterback on that team. Remember, he had Flacco they had still.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I just don't get the RG3.
I mean, and this is literally coming from his mouth too. So he also went on to say that he was paying attention, obviously, this offseason in terms of free agency because the thought was if the Jaguars didn't go after Nick Foles, then RG3 had a shot to be the Jag starting quarterback. Once again, this is from his words, not ours.
My gosh, could you imagine the disaster here if that was what came out? I mean, seriously, with all due respect to RG3, if that's where they landed.
Well, then you're going to get Dwayne Haskins.
Well, then that's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, then you would have been drafting a quarterback. So back to Foles for a moment. If this goes wrong with Foles, where do you see it going wrong? Because, again, there's a lot of positive stuff, and I'm a positive guy. I love it. But I think you have to look at the other side of it because a lot has gone wrong around here in the last decade, and especially at that position. So, and you also have to remember teams weren't dropping their quarterbacks to go pick up Nick Foles. Circumstances, again, I believe you could make the case circumstances were favorable for the Jags because they might have just landed themselves a really good quarterback, an above-average quarterback without a lot of resistance from other teams, not a lot of competition. So that's the all good. But the other thing is you have to acknowledge that not everybody else was sitting there saying, hey, all right, let's dump this guy or let's bring this guy in and let's we don't believe in our guy now, we'll go get him. I mean, even Arizona to a degree, right? You could say, well, they might have the number one pick and want Kyler Murray, but maybe they're not completely happy with Josh Rosen. Let's go get Nick Foles. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. That wasn't being said. So where does it go wrong potentially for Nick Foles if it's not going to go right?
If it goes wrong, you got to think it's going to involve his confidence. And if his confidence is going to be shot, if it's going to be an issue, it's going to come from the results of, I think, two things. Number one, the Jaguars not being able to run the ball and the team being one-dimensional. And then number two, being one-dimensional, not having the weapons that he had in Philly to get him out of those issues. So, and I don't like, I mean, listen, this is kind of me being the devil's advocate here because I feel like every team's got to, there's injuries questions and there's depth questions.
There's always a if or but.
Yeah. But from what I see right now, and we're going to get into it a little bit when we talk about the mock draft that just came out, which really just triggered me. So I can't wait to get into this part. Triggered. Literally, I read the article at 12:37. I was triggered by 12:38.
Wow.
Yeah. So this draft coming up is important for a few reasons. Number one, you can say, well, either this draft is going to be the draft that defines Foles in the fact that they're going to find guys that can protect him, or they're going to find guys that he can give the ball to and gain his confidence. So that's why this draft coming up is so important on the offensive side. Now, granted, there's been rumblings and whatnot saying, well, maybe the Jaguars go the first round, they go on the defensive side of the ball. They take the best player available. Sounds great. Sounds great. And I've used the term luxury pick before. Taven Bryan last year was a luxury pick. They didn't need another three technique. They didn't need it. Obviously, you saw how Taven played this past year. I think he had one sack the whole entire season. Obviously, playing out of position a little bit, but he was a luxury pick.
I disagree with you.
Okay. If the Jaguars take another three technique this year, and now granted, there's another edge rusher that they could use, definitely, but if they take a three technique, an Ed Oliver or somebody, that is a luxury pick.
Well, I think what it would do is really would make then Taven Bryan a luxury pick. See, I think last year's Taven Bryan pick was forward thinking on Malik Jackson because they filled a hole without having to go get a free agent guy or being stuck in the draft not having a three technique.
That's what I call luxury, though, because they had other needs on that team at the time.
Well, they did. Well, they did in hindsight.
True.
I'm trying to think of, at the 28th pick, it's different than picking in the top 10. Now, if you're picking 7 last year and you pick a defensive lineman, I think you're right. I think when you're picking 28, it's kind of a luxury pick to begin with. I mean, you've done well the year prior. You probably have a decent team.
But, Brent, those are important picks. The Patriots picked Sony Michel. How'd that pan out for him?
Well,
at 29.
Good. Very good. But it's not like they didn't have another running back, is my point.
Yeah.
So they pick based on, okay, that's a high guy on my board. Now, listen, they wanted tight end. Hayden Hurst was on their board. He got picked before tight end. So it's not like they were just honed in on this one guy. And I think now their picks of Taven Bryan, because Malik Jackson is gone, and their pick of the safety because Barry Church was let go, look good. They have holes filled in that spot. Now, I'm not saying you still have to get play from them, and you got to get performance and production, but I actually think there's an element, if those guys do play well, we'll look at it halfway through the year or later this year and say, hey, that was pretty good forward thinking by this group to fill those holes prior to being stuck having to fill those holes. I think you can play it, you can say that way. So, I mean, luxury pick to me goes back to where it really made no sense. Like Denard Robinson back in the day was a luxury pick. Denard Robinson was at the beginning of this build, and he was a luxury pick. Well, that you didn't have room for at the time. You were trying to find building blocks. Denard Robinson, for me, definitely was a luxury pick because you had no idea where he was even going to play. Wide receiver, running back. Could he fill in at quarterback at times? You really didn't even know. So I think that fit. I mean, I think you could always, again, defensive linemen are always a position in need.
They are, but A three technique and a pass rusher are two different things, in my opinion.
Yeah, they are. And I agree with you this year. Like, I don't think I'd take a defensive tackle this year. I'd take a pass rusher. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't in the 5th round take a defensive tackle.
But it shows me that he's a luxury pick, talking about Taven Bryan again, because the fact they tried to put him at a 5 technique that he's never really played.
And that's where they made the mistake.
Well, that was a mistake, but isn't it a luxury pick when you're taking the guy that you brought in for a 3 technique and you try to say, oh, well, our 3 techniques are set. Let's try them in the 5 technique. To me, that's a luxury pick because if you really need another edge rusher, then get an edge rusher. Don't try to turn a 3 technique who really has no experience playing the position at Florida and turn him in to a pass rusher.
Well, but I do think in this sense, again, I'll defend the organization in this part. I think they had in mind a guy like Calais Campbell. I'm not sitting here telling you Taven Bryan's Calais Campbell, but Calais Campbell can do both. He can be a pass rusher, and they did not have a backup for Calais Campbell. And if you go back to last year, the number of snaps Calais Campbell played in 2017 was too much because nobody could spell him. And so their idea was, okay, let's get somebody to spell Calais Campbell for a few snaps. He doesn't have to be a Pro Bowler at that spot, but the future of Taven Bryan is at the 3 technique and at defensive tackle. So, again, I'm not necessarily agree. I think they should have gone offense with that pick. I'm not saying, yeah, applaud you. Great job, Jags. That was a great pick. I'm just saying I can see their thinking in the pick at number 28 last year with Taven Bryan. So I get it. But I think going back to the conversation of what could go wrong with Foles, and you got to get them people. You got to get them people. Because what people do forget, and I was talking to someone yesterday about this, Blake Bortles. They had 58 sacks last year. They couldn't run the damn ball, and they led the NFL in drops. That has very little to do with the quarterback position. It might have some, but it's very little to do with the quarterback position. And so to your point, the failure of Foles will come with everybody else around him if they don't play better. And they need to increase their talent on that side of the ball in this coming draft, and they need to just flat out play better.
One more question for you. In terms of depth, we're talking about luxury picks. Going into the 2018 draft, did the Jaguars need a backup quarterback more or a backup 3 technique?
That's a good one. Oh, in hindsight, they needed a backup quarterback.
Jackson, what's up? Went to Baltimore.
Yes, he did. Hey, but we have Nick Foles now.
Yeah, we do.
Coming up next.
It all worked out.
Austin Lane is all sorts of fired up about the latest mock draft. Can't wait for this next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Life has choices. Cars Trail Mix has the answers. Whether you're craving a snack that's sweet and salty or sweet and spicy, you'll love that Cars Trail Mixes are nothing fancy, just delicious. Born in Detroit, loved in America. Cars Trail Mix, available at Winn-Dixie.
It's time for another shout out to all the North Florida poker fans. This is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Poker Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. The Card Player Poker Tour returns to Jacksonville May 3rd. This series will host 12 total events and over $300,000 in guarantees. The main event features an $1,100 no-limit hold'em tournament with a $200,000 guaranteed prize pool. Don't miss your chance to take a shot at over $300,000. For more information, visit them on the web at bestbetjacks.com.
The 2019 Harrell & Harrell Performance Studio is here, and it's better than ever. It's your chance to meet the personalities on the new ESPN 690. Sit in the front row and ask your questions to athletes in town, sports analysts, and experts. You'll be able to see them in person. It's going to be the best year yet. So listen to ESPN 690 for your chance to win your way in throughout the year. It's the Harrell & Harrell Performance Studio. Brought to you by Harrell & Harrell.
Rip open a bag of Cars Sweet and Salty Trail Mix and make every day opening day. Cars Sweet and Salty Trail Mix, the perfect mix of lightly roasted peanuts, naturally sweet raisins, little chocolate candies, and crunchy sunflower kernels, has the power to satisfy your cravings while boosting your energy. And like baseball, Cars Sweet and Salty Trail Mix is an American original. Make every day opening day with Cars Sweet and Salty Trail Mix, available at Winn-Dixie.
Ben Simmons is not good. He's great. I love his heart. I love his game, his fearlessness. The brother is special. There's one thing that Ben Simmons is lacking, and it is a jump shot.
The Stephen A. Smith Show, weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Oh, yeah, fist pumps here in the Action Sports Jacks ESPN 690 studio. Birdie for Ty on the fifth hole.
Welcome back, Mr. Momentum.
Had a little
starting
swag.
to change addresses.
Had a little swag. My wife's doing a really good job, by the way. She can't. It's hard to follow golf, so she's getting the putts, at least, and sending them to me.
Yeah.
So props to Steph.
By the way, that Iceman game, my son wants nothing more in this world right now than to be a hockey player.
Yeah.
It's literally all he talks about. And I was like, can we go play hockey more? When he comes home from school, I'm like, dude, we need to teach how to skate first. He's like, okay. Like, he's all about being a hockey player now, which that's cool. I mean, it's whatever,
awesome.
but it's going to be.
So he had a blast.
It's going to be expensive. Dude, he was all about it. All about it.
That's cool.
Yeah. Which I'm happy for. Like, I don't want him to get into MMA, obviously. So
don't take him to a golf event. That's going to be expensive if he wants to start doing that.
Oh, I don't know, man. Ever played hockey? That's pretty expensive too.
I'd say hockey is probably more expensive.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, listen, kids can play golf
equipment?
for a reasonable amount of money. I mean, now if you get I get the labeling of golf, but there are plenty of kids programs now, and from First Tee to North Florida Junior Golf to anyone else. So really, I think it's become broad, and I think it still has the stigma of, well, you better be able to play. But it's a lot like, to me, it's a lot like any of the sports now. Everything's so travel based. So if you really participate in like serious events, they cost money. Like if you travel baseball, costs money, but doesn't mean you can't play baseball. I mean, you can play rec baseball. You can do things that are pretty reasonable and just like the old days, if you will. But then you can ratchet it up a little bit and say, if you want to play some of these junior tournaments, it might be $200 to get into one. And that's just the way they operate. But that doesn't mean it's going to cost you $200 to play every round of golf. Now, clubs are expensive. But again, I think so many, I just hit on First Tee, North Florida Junior Golf Foundation. So many programs around the area do so well for kids to be able to play all walks of life. And that is a good thing. But, I mean, I think you are right. Hockey's pretty expensive one. You know why? Because rink time costs a lot of money. It's not – you don't just go out to the basketball court and play. You don't go out to the open field and play. It's really the rink time that costs a lot.
There's rink time. Obviously, the equipment is expensive when you have the helmets, the breezers, the shoulder pads, the shin pads, the skates, everything out, the sticks.
The hot chocolate to watch.
The hot chocolate to watch. And then
don't burn yourself
the big thing with hockey is tournaments. So you have to pay for tournaments as well. So then if you go traveling with tournaments, whether a whole weekend, so you got to pay for the hotel. It can add up really fast.
Yeah, I don't like that. Listen, there is an element of cost in sports today that probably didn't exist 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I get it. But I don't like the narrative that you can't do it because of it. That's not true. There are plenty of programs and plenty of ways to play. And you might not always play against elite competition or the best competition because of that, but you can still play in a variety of sports. And by the way, that's one thing we probably don't give the Icemen a lot of credit for or enough credit for. They have kind of increased youth programs and youth skates, and they have programs to get kids involved at the Sportsplex and other places. So I think they're really doing a good job of that, and that's something that's less talked about. But the Icemen have really put themselves in the community in a way that's that I think is going to increase hockey participation and exposure for kids, especially in this state, right?
Well, and that was refreshing to hear. We were talking to Bob, the owner, correct?
Yeah, Bob Arablo.
So Bob was getting into that a little bit, and I was refreshed to hear that because obviously being from the north, and Brent, you can relate to this too, like when you think of Florida, you don't think of Florida as a big hockey state.
Nope.
Especially in northern Florida where, there's not Tampa Bay and there's not the Florida Panthers. So one would think hockey's not that big around here, but talking to Bob and kind of some of the programs that he's spearheaded, it is refreshing to hear that they're trying to get kids to skate and everything like that, because it is a great sport. It's one of, especially and obviously I haven't been a parent that has a son that has skated yet, but I assume, from a parent perspective too, it's fun to watch. It's a great sport.
It's awesome. It's fun to watch kids do anything from recitals to playing sports. Okay, the recitals aren't always fun.
I was going to say, okay, Brent.
I don't want to derail the conversation, but it kind of goes with youth sports and something like that. I just had my uncle text me.
Okay.
He said, should there be a mercy rule in youth sports?
Nope.
Wow. Yeah, here's how it works a lot of times. I don't see it as much in baseball, at least that I've run into. But in softball, you can run into it quite a bit where there's a team that you're way better than. There's a big gap sometimes in softball, at least from where Kaylee's played. And so when you're beating the heck out of a team, you walk off the base and you can get your own outs that way. So there isn't necessarily now, there are mercy rules. You just have to get to third inning. Like if you get to the third inning and you're down 15 runs, fourth inning you're down 12, fifth inning you're down 8, then the mercy rule goes into effect. But those first couple innings can be pretty painful if you're outmatched.
I'm going to take my reaction back. I think that there should be mercy rules in baseball and softball because those games aren't timed. I mean, they can literally go on forever, so that could make a long game. But as far as like hockey, basketball, football, I mean, those are timed events, so I feel like it doesn't matter.
Well, and that being said, we've seen some horror stories about girls' basketball teams or boys' basketball teams, and that's on the coaches, man. I mean, that does not have to happen. So I don't. You can sit there in the four corners and pass the ball and then turn it over. You can do a lot of different things than that. So that's something. That to me is on the parents and coaches and to police that themselves. Just got bad news. Just got a text out of bounds on the 6th hole.
Oof.
Oh
man!
No.
Just a roller coaster of emotions
Dang it.
now. He's
Come
up,
on.
he's down. He's
Let's
up,
go.
he's down.
Well,
Good Lord, Ty.
his one birdie he had today, or birdie he just got, is more birdies than I've ever had in my life. So
Yeah, I think
so there's that.
He might have that on me too.
just if he needs some uplift.
All right. Do you have the mock draft in front of you? And what got you so mad about the mock draft?
I have it somewhat in front of me here, yes. So in terms of the mock draft, so this was an interesting one because
I have it in front of me if you need it.
No, it's good. I got it. So in terms of the draft, we should probably say this was a Mel Kiper and Todd McShay joint affair here.
Yeah, and they did first 2 rounds.
First 2 rounds. So the first round, they had Juwan Taylor.
Yes. Both of
them. They both agreed, which, by the way, these
they
guys
actually agreed on the first
these
7
guys
picks.
never agree, it seems like.
No,
either,
but on the
they
first
both,
7
yeah,
picks,
they both agreed.
That's a little odd. So they both have Kyler Murray, then Bosa, then Allen, Josh Allen, Quinnen Williams to the Raiders, Tampa Bay at 5, Devin White, Giants take Haskins, and then the Jags take Taylor. Then it gets a little bit different after that, including McShay has Hawkinson going to the Lions right after, and I think we'll all put our hand in our palm if that happens the next pick.
So in terms of the first round, because this is a 2-round mock draft, round number 1, okay, you've been hearing Taylor a lot. I've given my opinion on that. It's an offensive tackle, right tackle, not a sexy pick. I get the fact that you're trying to protect Foles, but at the same time, I feel like offensive line and the depth isn't the most major concern on the team right now. It is a concern, but not number 1. But I'm not upset with the Taylor pick because I can see where they're coming from. So I'm not mad at that one.
I don't think people will be mad at an offensive line pick.
It's just not sexy.
I don't think it's sexy, but I also believe, and I've told you this for as long as we've done the show, I think people panic too much about this offensive line. I don't think this offensive line is as bad as people are saying it is. And I do believe you're right. There are more positions of need, and playmaker is one of them. And again, it comes down. Hawkinson is we can talk value pick all we want, but it just still depends on their board in terms of what kind of value they're going to get. If they have him as a 17th ranked player on their board, well, I get it, not picking him number 7. I can't blame them for that. Now we'll see if they're right or wrong. But if they have Juwan Taylor as the 5th best player on their board and they have Hawkinson as the 17th best player on their board, I think it's hard to fault the organization for taking a right tackle because they do need a right tackle.
Yeah. Hence why I'm not really upset with that pick. It doesn't knock my socks off, but I get it.
Yeah, it's not the place. Daly's place in Flex Field on draft night is not going nuts
Exactly.
over Juwan Taylor. I'm not sure they're going nuts over T.J. Hawkinson, but I do think they'll go more nuts over T.J. Hawkinson. By the way, Gary called in, wants to know what's up with the Dolphins. The Dolphins, Rashawn Gary, Kiper says, the defensive end out of Michigan, which would be appropriate for Gary. The fact that Rashawn Gary could go, and then Ed Oliver dips all the way to number 13. Gary's calling back. Gary wants in.
Okay.
What's up, Gary?
Rashawn Gary.
Rashawn Gary or McShay has you down for Ed Oliver?
Ed Oliver.
Where's my quarterback?
Yeah, no quarterback. Now,
Fitzmagic, right?
Cincinnati Bengals, and Kiper says Drew Lock off the board. So Daniel Jones to the Redskins at 15. And
No, Daniel Jones, I would not be happy, guys.
Who do you want? You want Lock or Daniel Jones?
Lock or Haskins, either one.
Well, you're not getting Haskins.
Well, if they move up,
Unless
they
you
might.
unless you trade up.
Right, yeah. Austin, how about my Orioles and the Brewers? Those Red Sox, how are they doing, Brent?
Wow.
Ooh, I like it. Gary, bring a little fire to the show.
Gary, you're not a Marlins fan.
No, Orioles, you know that.
Yeah, Orioles are off to an awesome start. Now, they
really
won't keep it up, but it's a great start.
But a really surprising start. Slated how they're supposed to finish like one of the worst records in the whole
Hey,
MLB.
Austin.
What's up, man?
Austin, chew on this. The Orioles have more wins than the Yankees and Red Sox combined going into today.
How do you like that?
You know what? I like it.
Have a good one, guys.
I like it
Thank
for
you.
$100. That's what I like it.
Oh, that's how much it was. Brent's dishing how much he bet there. $100. All right. Damn, man, you're a loose cannon, Brent.
I am. I'm a crazy guy.
You're a wild card.
I am a crazy
$100 is $100
guy.
All right.
I feel like we're going to hit the jackpot here at ESPN 690. So by October, things will be going really well.
Fair enough.
All right, round 2. Taylor Rapp
Buckle your
says Kuiper
seatbelts.
and N'Keal Harry. You don't like a wide receiver from McShay?
Do me a favor. Go under Kuiper's pick, what he says here with Taylor Rapp, and see what he says about it.
If Jacksonville adds an offensive lineman in the first round, safety is the next need I have on my list.
Go ahead.
Rapp is good against the run. Might be better playing close to the line of scrimmage.
What was that first part again?
Safety is the next need after offensive lineman on the list.
Hey, Kuiper. Swaim's played 4 years in the NFL. Koyak's played 4 years in the NFL. Farrell McKeever, he had 1 year. And O'Shaughnessy's played 4 years. Out of those years, that's 13 years of experience, only 3 touchdowns divided through those guys at tight end.
That's 1 a year.
That's 1 a year between those 4 guys. And you mean to tell me that tight end is not a situation of need for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Triggered.
Yeah. I would say defensive end's big. A pass rusher is more of a need than safety.
A safety?
At this point. I'll go with Jared Wilson for now.
Exactly. And Ronnie Harrison, obviously you're not going to replace him. He had a great rookie season, a promising young talent.
Yeah.
So what is Kuiper talking about?
I don't know.
Now getting
By the
back
way,
to
they had 3 at tight ends going in the first round. Irv Smith Jr. lastly to the Jags.
Exactly.
To the Patriots.
And getting back to Tom McShay, I do like N'Keal Harry. He's actually my favorite wide receiver of the whole draft class.
Is he really?
He is.
I thought you were in love with DK Metcalf's body.
His body is legit. His agility and his shuttle, not so much.
Stay in your lane next on ESPN 690.
Hey, it's Trey Wingo from Golic and Wingo, and you're listening to ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
Happy Hump Day. I'm Jake Mitchell. After only 8 weeks into its first season, the Alliance of American Football has suspended football operations due to a lack of funding. And the Jags have signed another running back in a very busy backfield. This time it's Benny Cunningham, the former Ram ball carrier. The terms of the deal were not disclosed. And in the NBA last night, a milestone not reached since the days of Wilt the Stilt. Russell Westbrook stuffed the stat sheet with 20 points, 20 rebounds, and 20 assists. After the game, dedicated his performance to slain rapper Nipsey Hussle.
That wasn't for me, man. That was for my bro, man. That's for Nipsey, man. 20 plus 20 plus 20. They know what that means, man. That's for my bro. Rest in peace, Nipsey.
Don't forget to stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com.
Why do local women watch Action News, Jax? Because the unexpected can mess up their day. They like to know about the rain, the recalls, and school changes because their families are depending on them. They need more than just crime stories. They want to be in the know with real investigations that truly impact them, not something they can just Google. Is that selfish? We don't think so. Their time is valuable. In fact, more women are now watching Action News, Jax than any other station.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. We protect the homeland. We're always there when called upon, and in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hey folks, Dave Benyon with Zero Res. The older I get, the faster time flies. Can you believe that Easter is just around the corner? And if you're like me, it's a big time for the four most important things in life: faith, family, friends, and food. If you need help getting your carpets and tile looking and feeling fresh and new, call us at Zero Res. Right now, have 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129, and we will clean the 4th room for free. That's right, the 4th room is on me. Zero Res, spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
The spread and that college-style offense. Listen, in 3 years, you might see the Big 12 be run by the NFL because it's the exact same kind of offense that's going on here.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30. Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Just got a fist pump on hole number 6.
Dude, the kid's taking us on a roller coaster of emotion.
He really is. I said, why? She said he made it up and down for a 5. No, because he had gone out of bounds.
Oh,
so he saved the shot.
Okay.
Bogey fist pump.
A bogey fist pump.
He knows every shot counts.
Okay. I respect it.
That's Ty guy.
It was a bogey, but okay.
Big middle school match going on right now.
I'll give it to him. Do we know what place? You probably don't know what place he's in, obviously.
I have no idea. Yeah. Who knows? The matches take forever. They started at like 3:05. It's 5:30, and he's on the 7th hole.
Obviously, they have to carry their own clubs too, I assume.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. But still, it's like you never. I mean,
they're gonna run out of sun.
Yeah, it's crazy. You only play 9 holes, but they said last week it took 3 hours, 3.5 hours to play 9 holes because just the skill varies. Yeah, you know, which is fine. That's cool. But that's a long watch. That's a long day of golf right there for 9 holes.
That's a lot of parenting. That's a lot of supporting.
All right. So I guess he must have gone in the water because she said it went out of bounds. That wouldn't have been the way they counted it. So we'll see. Who knows if my wife is right on the scorecard. She might be fabricating it. She's not keeping score, though, so that's good. The Atlanta Braves and the Cox family, Bobby Cox family, issue a statement of thanks and appreciate the support. Not really an update necessarily on his status, but just appreciation for the prayers and thoughts. And it came down late last night that he had an apparent stroke, legendary manager of the Atlanta Braves. You know, I always bring this up, and I never really confirm it. Maybe somebody listening knows or not. But I think Bobby Cox spends time in Amelia Island. I'm pretty sure, and since his retirement. And I don't know how much he does, but he does, because this is a crazy story quick, but I gave a pilot from the Jacksonville airport an Uber ride to Amelia Island. Okay.
And he also has like a private jet thing that he flies as well. So he was saying how he always sees Mr. Cox at Amelia Island out and about. So,
how about that?
Yeah.
So he does. I had heard that a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I knew I just never knew for sure. I just had heard it that he spent some time, and I don't know how much time, but over there in Amelia Island. So wishing the best for Bobby Cox. Someone joked, I don't know, I think it was Freddie Freeman who joked, he's probably giving them a hard time and he'll probably get ejected from the hospital.
That's awesome.
That was a pretty good line from Freddie Freeman of the Atlanta Braves. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos back here, 5:35 on a Wednesday. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and get ready for a good evening because the weather is beautiful. Just one of those gorgeous evenings in Northeast Florida. And it is time to stay in your lane as you make your way home.
Cruise control. Well, this could be taken as a pump your brakes too, but I'm going to go cruise control for Brent's boy Phil Mickelson.
Oh boy!
Or as Brent calls him, the Jackie Robinson for left-handers. Honestly, so the
that's
story.
Pretty good.
Well, you're kind of a fanboy with him, but it's all good. Yeah,
pioneer.
He's a pioneer. He's kind of like a Rosa Parks. He's a Rosa Parks of left-handers, whatever. All right, so we got country music star Jake Owen, known for straight bangers such as Barefoot Blue Jean Night and Beachin'. Everything else is kind of
Yeah, but Barefoot Blue Jean Night's good.
Oh, that's a good song, man. Yeah. Great song. Mom loves Beachin', by the way. That's a good song too as well. So
he's played at the Players Championship in the past.
Missed out. The only one I saw was Dierks Bentley, which was a good show as well. But getting back to the story. So they were at Jordan Spieth's wedding when he ran into Phil Mickelson. To set the story quick, Jake Owen was upset with Phil after he spent $30 on the pay-per-view to see him and Tiger Woods play head-to-head this past November. Well, think what you want, but the pay-per-view kind of left a lot to be desired. A lot of people said it was kind of boring. Wasn't a lot of good shots. Well, you mix a little alcohol with Jake Owen, and he had just the right amount of liquid courage to confront Phil Mickelson and demand a refund. Turn up a little bit, Kuz.
Yeah. I was hoping Kuz was going to come up with that.
So in response to Jake's request, Phil proceeded to pull out a wad of hundreds and proceeds to hand Jake one of them, saying, I won 90,000 of these yesterday. Take the 100 and go F yourself. We were coming alive. Yep. So
I saw that story. I didn't like that story, but it was interesting.
You don't like it? Why? That's a power play. That's a BD P move right there by Phil Mickelson. I had to spell it out. Sorry. Never gonna slow down.
I love the fact that Jake Owen's like, yeah, I had to get a few cocktails into me, and then I said, I'm going to say something about this. Give me my $29 back.
Yeah, so let's be honest, Brent. Phil Mickelson's move of throwing the $100 at Jake Owens and bringing out the wad of hundreds. Are you a fan of that or not?
I liked it.
It was a flex for sure.
I thought it was a pretty good flex.
Yeah.
Guy comes at you, you got to do something in
Here's
response,
the thing
right? You're going to just take it?
Exactly. You're not going to take it. You're Phil Mickelson.
Did he use his left hand to hand him the money?
Probably his right hand, because I told you yesterday he's a right-handed.
There you go.
By nature.
Yep. I mean, I'm just. I thought you were gonna hit on it a little bit. Honestly,
no, I saw the story, and I kind of like both.
Okay.
Both guys. I like the fact that Jake Owen went up to him and said, "Man, you robbed me," and then I like the response. That's the way it should be.
Let me ask you this question quick: What's the biggest flex you've ever done on somebody? I mean, it's a hard question. You might need some time to think about it.
Probably not one that would qualify as a big flex. Why, do you have one that comes to mind?
Nothing really, honestly. I just wanted to see if you had one.
Yeah, I mean, you never said, like, saw someone out in a bar or whatever, and you're like, what are you doing? I play football on Sundays or something like that. That's a pretty decent flex.
I mean, I have a big flex, but I can kind of tell it, but I got to censor it out a lot, but I can give it a try.
The dump button is ready.
All right. So this was Halloween back in 2013, my last year with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I take Halloween very seriously. I dressed up as Deadmau5. Brent, you probably don't know who Deadmau5 is. Kuz, you probably know who he is.
Yep.
Well, the thing with Deadmau5 is that he has a giant mouse head. So I made a giant mouse. Well, I didn't make it. I had help. Made the giant mouse head. And my friend was Skrillex, who's another DJ or electronic artist. So I'm in the middle of not the Ritz. I'm in the middle of the Bricks at Jacksonville Beach with my giant mouse head. So I can barely get through the door. So this is a spectacle, to say the least. And some gentleman comes up to me. I'd probably peg him at 21, 22. Your typical frat boy bumps me from behind, which I thought was an accident. Didn't pay any attention to it. And then comes up to me and says, nice helmet. And he called me an F word. That's all I'm going to say. He called me an F word. It was
really?
It's a derogatory comment. And
How big's this guy?
This guy was not big at all, Brent.
He called a 6'6" guy with a mouse head?
Yeah.
An F word.
An F word. So he said that. I'm like, okay, man.
He call you Frank?
Not that one.
Oh.
Freddie.
Yeah, exactly. So he says that. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I let it slide. Well, I'm walking towards outside, and he's outside as well. And once again, he says, check out this F word. And I'm like, all right. So I take the mouse head off. And his first reaction is, holy crap, it's Austin Lane. I go, yeah, man, what's up? And he goes, oh, dude, I was just playing around. I'm like, were you, though? Were you really playing around? He's like, man, I'm sorry. You know, like, he immediately, like, kind of felt bad about it. But the best, and I wish I could, it's so hard not to swear.
Here's the disclaimer with the swearing. I got one dump, and then after that, you are in trouble.
So that's okay.
One?
So,
well, like 8 seconds if he curses in that 8 seconds.
Okay, so one of his friends was like, dude, don't pay any attention. He's actually a little B word. And the guy that was talking smack to me, that called me that word, was like, yeah, dude, I'm a B word. Hey, I get this. And I go, wait, what are you? He goes, I'm a B word. I'm like, one more time. And he shouts it, I'm a B word. I'm like, that's what I thought, and I just walked away then. And I put
that's a good flex.
And I put my mouse head back on, and that was it. And I left, yeah.
I'm glad you got the mouse hat back on.
Oh,
head back on, because that was a good finish.
Yeah. Yep.
By the way, what is this dude doing? I mean, regardless of Austin Lane, football player, MMA fighter, mouse head, you're like 6'6". Why would the guy do? I mean,
I don't know, man.
See, I always figured you would have problems with like musclehead guys that want to be like, oh yeah, you think you're tough? I'm tough.
Yeah,
you know where the weight room is?
There's a couple. There's the guys that want to ask how much I bench and everything like that.
Yeah.
But
And that's all they want.
That's all they want.
Let's go to the weight room.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I already told you, let's go off to the parking lot and I can beat you in the 40.
I can't wait for that, by the way. Brent's going to pull a hamstring.
Hold on, I have to stretch.
Guaranteed pulling a hamstring. Right off the bone.
All right. We'll put a bow on the show. And we got away with the no dump button. Next on ESPN 690. Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and, of course, on CBS 47 and Fox 30. If you catch us on the radio, hopefully you tune in 3 until 6, Monday through Friday. And you can catch us on TV on the weekend as well. Saturday and Sunday nights, Action Sports Jacks prime time. The entire Action Sports Jacks team, including Stuart Weber and Marcel Robinson, on Saturday nights. 10:30 on Fox 30, 11:30 on CBS 47, Action Sports Jacks prime time. And during the week on ESPN 690.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, presented by Community First, opens tomorrow. Don't miss opening day, presented by Firehouse Subs and Rimrock Devlin, with free magnet schedules courtesy of Crawford Electric, and post-game fireworks. Then it's Napa Auto Care Family Fireworks on Red Shirt Friday. Baseball all weekend. Tickets start at $5. Call 358-2846 or jackshrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
Levy Jewelers estate sale is on now through April 14th, and here's why you should shop.
We're very fortunate to have an outstanding selection of estate merchandise, which is always one of a kind.
You see things that you just really don't see any longer. The workmanship, the design of the pieces.
Just looking at their face when they see something totally different is just extraordinary.
They know they're going to find something unique they can't find anywhere else.
You're invited to Levy Jewelers estate sale on now through April 14th.
It's time for another shout out to all the North Florida poker fans. This is Allie from both Best Bet Poker Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. The Card Player Poker Tour is on the rise, and you've just entered the Satellite Frenzy Zone. Get out to Jacksonville to participate in a 10-seat mega satellite every week throughout the month of April. Lock up your seat into the $200,000 guaranteed main event for just $250. For more detailed information, visit them on the web at bestbetjacks.com. Until next time, this is Allie saying, I hope to see you at the final table.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
311 and 30 Heads just announced they're coming back to Jacksonville this summer on August 4th. Go to the contest page on ESPN690.com now and enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the show at Daly's Place. 311 and 30 Heads with ESPN 690.
This is Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Weber just sent me a picture of the mouse head.
Oh,
in Austin. He found it on Facebook. It's pretty funny, actually.
It's a big one.
Doesn't have the other guy, though, in the picture.
No, I don't think he was going to take a picture with him.
Brett Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos here on a Wednesday, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Hey, Jumbo Shrimp open tomorrow. We're going to be over at the baseball grounds, Bragan Field, the baseball grounds of Jacksonville. I think we're going to go right outside the baseball grounds because there's a little fan fest going on before. Gates don't open until 6, which is right at the end of our show. So we'll be right outside. Come by and say hello. Hopefully you're coming by to a Thursday night game and the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp home and season opener. How about if we give 4 tickets away to that game? Here, all you have to do is call 904-362-9901, 904-362-9901, and we'll take caller number 3, Bryce Harper. I like the number 3 for Harper.
Yeah. Allen Iverson. It's a big, like, Philly number, you know?
Yeah. Babe Ruth.
Yeah, yeah.
Not Philly.
No,
but,
no.
But anyway, 904-362-9901. See you at the Jumbo Shrimp game. 4-pack of tickets. If you give us a buzz. Hey, look at this right here. You were just in the bathroom.
Where'd that come from? Oh, it's someone.
Weber.
Oh, he found that?
He found it. Is that it? That's you.
Yeah, that's me, man.
That's one heck of a mouse head. Where the heck did you get that thing?
Made it.
You made it.
Yeah. Didn't I show you? Did you see? So we took that and I made that helmet, and then we evolved it into something else. Have you seen what I evolved it to?
No.
All right. Well, I will show you during the next commercial break, or if I'm getting to pump your brakes later, I'll show it to you.
Oh, are you getting to pump your brakes now?
Yeah. Do you want me to? Or?
I think you have to because we have 10 minutes left in the show.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, the time's just
I know this
flying
really
by when
goes
you're
by
having
fast,
fun.
and you want to stay until 7 or 8, but I got a little television to do on Fox 30 at 6:50.
All right, pump your brakes. Got to give it to Conor McGregor. Look, there is no doubt in my mind that McGregor is probably the most important figure in all of MMA. He was the guy who took the sport from a centralized fan base and spread it to a worldwide spectacle. He recently put out some tweets that were photos of a sparring session with Paulie Malignaggi, where if people don't really know the story with Paulie Malignaggi, Conor McGregor brought him in to spar to get ready for Floyd Mayweather. There was some beef back and forth. Paulie's a very vocal guy, a former world champion in the sport of boxing. He's also an analyst on Showtime, so he's a pretty well-known figure. Well, Paulie was bad-mouthing Conor the whole time when he came back from the sparring session, saying Conor's going to get knocked out, yada, yada, yada. So this went back and forth. So let's fast forward to yesterday, where there were weigh-ins for a bare-knuckle boxing event where Paulie Malignaggi is taking part in it, and one of Conor's good friends, Artem Lobov, who used to fight in the UFC, is also now in the bare knuckle boxing league. Well, him and Paulie got into it, and Paulie ended up slapping Artem Lobov. So this transpired Conor McGregor to tweet out pictures of him sparring Paulie Malignaggi, of him punching him in the face and whatnot with their sparring footage, yada, yada, yada. Well, that would start as a rip at Paulie Malignaggi went into a downward spiral of Conor tweeting at Khabib, who obviously there is bad blood there. They had their match, but they're probably most known for Conor throwing a dolly through a bus windshield, and then Khabib, after the fight, jumping out of the cage and going after Conor McGregor and some of his teammates. So let's fast forward now to last night, where Conor posted something regarding Khabib's wife. Not going to really get into it because it's not appropriate, I feel like, for the show. So Conor posted something about Khabib's wife, and I feel like that's crossing the line. Like, listen, I'm all for building up a UFC fight. It is the entertainment business. You can talk smack about their style. You can talk smack about maybe their character and whatnot. But Khabib has made it known, and, Khabib's from Dagestan, which is a pretty rough spot to grow up in. And we learned from the first time that Khabib jumped the fence that, listen, you don't talk about someone's religion from that country or their family. Conor talked about the religion and his father the first time, and now Conor's poking jabs at Khabib's wife, which is over the line. It's the mother of his child, whatnot. So from that perspective, I feel like Conor McGregor just pumped the brakes a little bit, especially coming from the guy who literally dominated you in every aspect of MMA. I get it, you're trying to get a rematch, but man, the guy's got bragging rights on you right now. He beat you wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
so
sometimes these guys go over what's over the top, and that's you're just saying that's over the top. But even from an MMA standpoint, they've got to corral this thing to some degree. You like the entertainment, you like the buildup, you like the controversy. It helps. It helps a lot. Like, Dana White can say all he wants to say in front of a microphone, but he also knows cha-ching in the back pocket because this is going to bring attention. Any press is good press.
And that's what frustrates me is like Conor McGregor threw the dollar through the bus, ended up taking out 2 fighters from that UFC card, caused one to have major eye damage, and Dana White's like, Conor's an abomination to the sport. He should have never threw that dollar through the bus window. He's suspended. He may never fight again. Well, what did we see 3 weeks later when Conor was getting ready to fight Khabib? We saw that footage of Conor throwing the dolly through the bus window. So it drives me insane where you come out and listen, I'm not trying to talk smack about Dana White. This is just my opinion. I get you got a business to run. But, man, you can't go on one side of the spectrum and be like, this is an abomination to our sport. It makes us look bad. But then we're going to use that footage and try to make money off that. That's what drives me crazy.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think they've got to be careful. I've said this before to you. I think you have to be careful to the casual fan to not get too crazy. Like WWE, people know you're a little crazy, and they embrace the crazy. I think there's an element of crazy and controversy and all those things, but I do think you have to be a little there's an edge. There's a line. And if you go over it, I think you lose people too. And you lose people that want to participate in the sport and grow the sport and help the sport. So I think you've always got to be a little cautious on that side of it.
And no, don't get me wrong. Dana White has come out and said that he's telling both Conor McGregor and Khabib to literally just, stop doing what you're doing on Twitter and knock it off. And that's great and everything. But if Conor ever does rematch against Khabib, the last thing I want to see are those tweets directed towards Khabib's wife. Okay?
Yeah.
So Dana White, you came out and said it's not right. It's not right, then just leave it alone and let's never see it again.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to end the show with kind of the way we started the show, the wrestling port. We didn't get to that yesterday.
Yeah.
So Tony Khan has All Elite Wrestling here. It's based in Jacksonville, essentially. It's trying to be a rival of the WWE. WrestleMania this week, the John Oliver comments, which I know you can't play them, but the bottom line here is All Elite Wrestling's trying to lure people, lure wrestlers, lure big names, and they're going to, at least the appearances, from my point of view, take care of the wrestler a little bit more than the WWE does. You've commented several times over the last couple months and even yesterday that these guys work a lot of dates. That they get they're like a piece of meat in the WWE with Vince McMahon. I think All Elite Wrestling sounds like they're trying to take advantage of that and lure people away and say, hey, it's better to work here. This is a better work environment, and we can still put on a show, and there's a lot of money supporting it and all these things. Do I have that part right, and will that work?
You're absolutely right with that. Here's the cool thing with All Elite Wrestling. Cody Rhodes is one of the CEOs. He's the guy that's spearheading this whole operation. Cody Rhodes is a wrestler. Nothing against Vince McMahon and what he's done, because Vince McMahon has built an absolute empire. Vince McMahon has never wrestled. Don't get me wrong. He's been in the ring and he's had matches and everything. But he didn't grow
never
up
going through the rigors of wrestling.
He didn't grow up as a wrestler. So it's hard as a CEO to relate sometimes to your product because you haven't lived that life. Yes, you're traveling and whatnot, but you're not putting your body through the ring like some of these guys are. So I think that's where All Elite Wrestling has the advantage in the fact that it is wrestler friendly. You have Cody Rhodes running it. You have the help of Chris Jericho. You have Kenny Omega. All these guys that have been around the business, that grew up wrestling, that know the toll that it takes. That's going to be a friendly environment for people to want to come and, work for All Elite Wrestling. So with this whole John Oliver thing, I mean, it's no secret. I think sometimes it's almost taboo, especially with wrestlers under contract with WWE. They can't come out and say, well, yeah, our insurance sucks, because why? They have
Still
a good
their
job.
livelihood.
Yeah, it's their livelihood. You just can't come out and talk against it. But now there's competition. Now there's All Elite Wrestling coming up. I think you see more wrestlers start to speak out a little bit because there are other options. There are other ways of making a good living in the wrestling business.
So you think it's going to work, though, mainly because of that. Now that you've got a lot of money, you have the chance to have money backing it. I mean, if Tony Khan's backing it and Shad Khan's supporting it, I mean, you have a chance to have a lot of money backing it. So that's an important part. I mean, we just saw the AAF. You can have a great idea, and $250 million might sound like a lot of money, but it's not. I mean, you're talking about WWE, which is a monster right now. I mean, they've just signed a $1 billion deal with Fox to do shows on Friday starting in October.
Yeah.
So that is a monster.
So listen, they have the wrestlers, they have the Kenny Omegas, they have the Cody Rhodes, they have the fan bases that are familiar with the Bullet Club from New Japan Pro Wrestling are going to come over to All Elite Wrestling now. So you have them, and then if you bring over like a Marty Scurll from Ring of Honor, then you have that fan base as well. And this is a very loyal fan base, especially with people that follow Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks. The fans love those guys, and they will go anywhere. I mean, their show in Las Vegas sold out in a matter of 20 minutes. So that's a good sign. They have all the pieces in place, but what it comes down to at the end of the day is obviously making money, and that involves a major TV station picking them up and signing them on. I don't know ideally when that would be, if they have to wait a year or something like that maybe, but if they can do that, and if that TV station allows them to keep doing what they're doing, because another big thing, obviously, and this is why I think WWE has died recently, is the fact that the FCC got involved, where you don't have like the Stone Cold Steve Austin storylines anymore, all the balance, because it is for it's like a TV MA now, you know what I'm saying? So like from that perspective, you can't show a lot of violence and whatnot. You can't swear, obviously, but I think if All Elite Wrestling stays true to their roots, what Cody's always done, what Kenny's always done, I think you have an alternative product that could be successful in the world of wrestling.
Yeah, we'll see if it is. And keep talking about All Elite Wrestling, WWE, as we go along. And the event's coming up in June in Jacksonville, right?
It is, yes. Yeah.
In All Elite Wrestling. And still maybe get one of those big stars on the show at some point. Yesterday, we told you a little bit about some lacrosse. Fletcher got a big win over Providence, 10-9. Also, Creekside lost to Ponte Vedra 20-7. So a couple of the best teams in the state doing battle yesterday in the area. Wanted to update you on that. The Phillies lose for the first time. The Nationals get them. They come back and they win in the ninth, 9-8. That's going to do it for a Wednesday edition. We're going to be at the baseball grounds tomorrow. Come see us at Bragan Field, the baseball grounds. Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp opener 3-6 tomorrow right here on ESPN 690. I'll see you on TV tonight, Fox 30 and CBS 47.
Insight and perspective you can only get playing the game.
I think you have a lot left to give. I'm not just saying that because we're former teammates, but I've trained with you, man. I've seen you in action, so I'm sending you good vibes. Wish you all the best.
Austin Lane every afternoon from 3 till 6 p.m. on Action Sports Jax.
9 wins is the over-under right now. I can't remember the last time the Browns have been in the upper third of the league as far as that's concerned. Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick and Wingo.
Weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. This is ESPN 690.
Want a fresh one? Try Renna's Pizza. Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you're looking for some place to eat today, how about Renna's? Family-owned and operated, New York-style pizza. Everything made fresh, in-house daily. Try the lunch specials or come by and pick up your favorite pizza for dinner. The sandwiches are made from fresh bread, made from scratch. That's right. They make their own bread in-house. And for a limited time, buy any large or extra